All right. Hey, everybody. It's a Thursday. And Thursday.
Oh, okay. I forgot to bring my mic up.
That'll help. That's okay. We're a little scrambling today.
Right. What
Sometimes
happened to Jeff?
it just happens. I don't know. I sent him a note to join us.
A little sad face.
He's a happy word balloon.
Oh, it looks like it's so tiny.
I know. It's
that
really
I
small,
can't
right?
See it.
No, it's a happy world.
Jeff is an error message.
Balloon.
Yes, Jeff is an error message.
Totally.
And apparently we have echo.
It happens from time to time. Let me see what I can do. Echo on...
I don't know. Kit just says echo.
Okay, well, let's try this and see if there's no echo.
Hello. There, that fixed it.
Puppies. There's always something weird going on.
Yes.
'Cause
Well, Lord Silverhand says if there are technical difficulties,
it's
must be
Docking Bay
Thursday.
94.
Not Docking Bay 94. It's just Thursday.
Oh, it's Thursday. Well, I
Right.
never could quite get the hang of Thursdays.
Right.
So you are either over at KryptonRadio.com listening to Docking Bay 94 on the recently refurbished station because it went down over the weekend. That was crazy. Or you're over at twitch.tv/docking_bay_94 where you can see us for better or for worse. But one way or another, we're glad that you're here. However, you are consuming us, which always sounds really weird.
Yeah, I don't want to be consumed.
Sound like it's communion or something.
Right.
Yeah, creepy. And we'll just try to get a hold of Jeff as we can.
Was he there to begin with, or did you just not show up?
Well, no. I sent him a note. I have a contact request.
Oh.
But it's not him, and maybe he lost the link or something to do it. It's
terrible.
It's the same link every week. So, whatever. We will figure it out.
Right.
Great.
So let's see. Are we going to introduce ourselves? Or?
Yes, I am.
I mean, even though we're
well, I was
guestless?
kind of waiting for Jeff, just in case he
Yes.
was just nearby.
Right.
But I am Sean Crosby.
His error message went away. I'm calling Kaylee Crosby.
And Jeff Soledano is working on it. Well, I can play with the cursor. Ooh.
Oh, I guess so.
That's always exciting.
Wow. Anyway, hey, so last week, let me think about what we did. Costume On, the second weekend of Costume On was last weekend, and I moderated the, basically their con suite.
Yeah.
So that means that I sat on Zoom and sewed.
And babysat.
I babysat.
Lurked.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember if I actually sewed or not. I did, because then I had to pick out everything I did because I did it wrong.
Because you did it wrong?
I
Well,
I kept putting things in, going, okay, I did that totally wrong, picking it all out, redoing it. It's going to the next step, sewing it in, going, okay, I did that wrong too, picking it out.
That's been par for our course, though.
That's my life.
Well, so I'm working on a bunch of videos, and Colleen has been listening to me swear in the early hours of the morning because I'm using an older version of Adobe. I'm using the last version of Adobe before they started charging you monthly, because I don't want to pay monthly for something I don't use monthly. So I'm using that, and there are just weird technical glitches and all this kind of stuff, and something that will work one day doesn't work when you save it the next day, and it's been bad. Because this weekend is Memorial Day weekend, and it is the weekend that we always have the Rancho Cucamonga Star Wars Day. And we've been doing this for about 12 years. It started with about 50 people. It's now several thousand people. And I'm usually the MC. Well, of course, we've canceled it because of coronavirus and all that sort of stuff. And so we're moving it online. And so I'm editing video like a madman, trying to get the online component down so that we have stuff to do. And of course, because we moved it online and that must be easier, we have now expanded it to 3 days of like 2 hours each day and all of this kind of stuff. And
That's
it's
crazy.
Right. It really should have just remained like a 4-hour day on Saturday. I think would have been just fine. But anyway, so we're scrambling. It's nuts.
Yeah.
It is crazy, I tell you.
Wildcard9 says that it's throwing. He says that it's throwing me off. I'm used to thinking of Memorial Day weekend being the last weekend of May, but because May ends on a Sunday, it is the weekend before the last one. And I'm getting confused about it, not only because of that, but also because the library moved their event a week. I keep thinking that clearly Memorial Day weekend is next weekend, not this weekend. And I'm wrong.
Yeah, and that's kind of messing me up too. And everyone I've been talking to has been messed up. I told people about the whiteboard and how you have to write the day every day on the whiteboard, and how I tell everybody on the morning on the radio show going, okay, guys, it's Thursday today. You know, don't forget what day you're doing.
And I try to do that first thing in the morning, and I've been failing.
Yeah.
With that. But we also, because we keep forgetting to do things, we have like anything that is really important and has to be done at a certain time, we put up on this whiteboard for the day, including what we're eating for lunch and dinner, because it's just too hard to remember what we're doing. Crazy.
So
Cray.
our meeting info for this meeting does not change, but I'm sending it to Jeff anyway. So I think he was expecting a link from me, so my bad.
Hi, Berta and Kelly and Pat. They are watching over on Facebook. And they all say hello.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, so, and then Sean, while I was doing Costume On, Sean was doing a parade.
Of sorts, yeah. So
like one of those birthday parades.
Right. So the one on Monday that we did, I was invited by Boba Kit Sovine, and Trevor to be part of a birthday parade for a boy. It was essentially like a Make-A-Wish kind of a deal. And so Trevor, and you know, I have to say, so Trevor dresses as Darth Vader. I can't imagine a more coronavirus secure costume than Darth Vader. Just put something in the mask and you're in a spacesuit.
Was this the thing with Kit and Trevor? I thought this was the thing with
Oh, that was the thing with Tom.
With Tom.
Yeah. She's right. I did two. I did two of them. Okay, so let me this was Monday. So let me finish up the thing with Trevor. Yeah. So usually I do lots and lots of events, and we're still trying to figure these out. And so I did. So I went out on Monday, and Trevor went as Vader. I drove the car up, and we did a little appearance, and then we went. We can't go to lunch or after these events anymore, which is kind of a bummer. We just kind of like, hi, bye.
Yeah.
Which is a drag. Yeah, Saturday. So Tom Piedmont has a Star Wars car, as do I, and we went to do something with the Purist group, which was in conjunction with the LA County Sheriffs. And they were doing a toy drive, and it was like a toy drive-by. And so we were going by a home that has about 42 beds in it for underprivileged kids. Mm-hmm. And basically, Sean Lee, who runs this Purist Club, invited everybody with a cool car, period. So we had like Fast and the Furious, we had little rice rockets, we had all these cool stuff. And then Tom and I, as the Star Wars guys. And so we go and we get in line, and we follow the instructions from the sheriff, and we wait in line, and eventually we go past a whole bunch of guys in black shirts that are like the Purist Car Club, and it's like, hey guys, yeah, all right. And then we go past them, and then there's nothing. And the way it was written, I thought we were going to meet at this location and then drive to another location, and we were just going to be a big caravan in front of this house. Well, apparently we met, and like the house thing was next door. Mm-hmm. I didn't see the kids. I don't know where they were. I assume they were somewhere safe.
They were isolating.
Right. And when I went by, and all the guys are like, hey, cool. Nobody went, do you have a toy? And so we went, and we stopped, and we talked to a cop, and we talked to another guy who was equally lost. A guy drove from Camarillo, and he's like, I am also lost, because this was in the City of Industry. and that's a long drive from Camarillo. And so I said, well, we're going back because we missed something, obviously. And so we did. We looped back around, but the cops started like moving away and stuff, so I guess it was kind of over. It also started like a half hour early. It was supposed to start at 10, started at 9:30. We were there in time, which was not a problem, but they started it early because so many cars were there.
Didn't they tell you to be there at 8?
They did, which was really insane.
Yeah.
And we were not there at 8. That was not going to happen. We got there at 8:30, I think. But anyway, we go back and we drive up to the same group of guys and they're like, hey, you're back. And I'm like, is someone going to take this toy? Because I have a toy. And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, and this is it. We're done. And they're like, yep, we're done. Like, okay.
Wacky.
And we drove away. And again, I couldn't take Tom to lunch for all his trouble. He put his car all back together just for me so that he could do this event with me.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it was just a weird thing. And
You could have driven through a fast food place and then said, I want to pay for the guy behind me.
Yeah.
Except that would be hard to do because you don't know what he's going to order.
It's just really, really crazy.
Yeah. Hi, John.
Okay, I think I have Jeff in the room here.
Yes, Eric says push the button on the screen.
I pushed the button on the screen. Now I'm trying to see the screen.
The one where it says join?
Where? I have a button that says end.
I can't actually read it.
No,
It's too small.
I have a button that says end.
Usually you have to go down to the little video thing and the audio thing
And I looked at that. It lets me choose a virtual background. It's letting me choose a camera. I can't hit start video for some reason.
Weird.
Yeah, it's really strange. And, it says the computer.
Tune into Docking Bay 94 for a tech talk.
Well, the thing that's really dumb is that this works every single time we get it sorted out. And then some new problem crops up. I mean, I can switch a whole bunch of cameras. So now I'm switched over to like Jeff's camera. But I can't view him. I have admitted him, apparently, to the thing.
I hear him.
I hear you. Say hi, Jeff.
Hello. Hey
Hi,
there.
Jeff.
Okay, we hear you.
We've got Jeff with audio.
Oh, my God. And there's the camera. That was weird.
I think I got that part working. There we go.
Oh, maybe it was you, because I couldn't do anything. I'm like, I
Weird.
cannot find you. Okay, so that said, let me maximize you. There we go. Hey, look, it's Jeff.
Ah.
Everybody.
Yay!
Hello,
Now
everybody.
we all have to introduce ourselves again.
All right, so
There we
So in addition to being Sean Sean Crosby, which is me,
Jeff Soledado finally.
is him. Yes.
And it's still Colleen Kaylee Crosby.
Yeah, for now, till she divorces me and she's changing her name. It's gonna be messy.
I don't know if I want my maiden name back.
Yeah.
Although it did let me have double letters in each one of my names, and I missed
Yes.
that.
Well,
So,
but now you have alliteration.
right.
So
I do. So, Jeff, we were just talking about our weekends. Did you do anything this weekend?
Let's see. Huh.
Okay, your
I can never remember what the heck I
weekend
did
was
on the
exciting.
weekend. I'll have to
Well,
go think about
while
that.
you think about it,
No idea
I
why.
had a book club meeting.
Oh.
But it was funny because when we signed up to do the book club, someone suggested the book, and the book was called The Bookshop on the Corner, which is a super, super fluffy book. But right now, nobody needs to be reading anything that's intense or unhappy or anything like that.
right, no tragedy.
So,
Man.
so I'm like, wow, this title sounds really familiar. But the book that I'm thinking of is a woman who worked in a library, and then she lost her job, so she bought a van and sold books out of it. None of that is a bookshop on a corner. And the photo on the cover of the book is actually of an actual shop, like a physical storefront. And I started reading the book, and I went, yeah, I read this before. This is the one about the van, and has nothing to do with a bookshop. I mean, she's selling books, but it's not a shop.
That's really
And in
fun.
this particular book club, it's called Books and Buns. So
Okay.
we read a book and we bake a cake. And then we show everybody a picture of the cake we baked. Because this is all online. It's been online forever. So even before we were quarantined at home, we would do this.
Okay.
So I had banana cake and read my book, and that was that.
Nice.
Ooh.
Yep. Jeff, did you figure out what you did last weekend?
No. No.
Every day looks just like the day
I mean,
before.
yeah,
Right.
pretty much. I mean, I'm waking up again and it's quarantine day.
Kelly says that she thinks that book had a different title in the UK, which it was about England and Scotland. So
Oh, right. The
Yeah.
bookshop on the corner.
yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Is it this past week? Oh, well, I don't remember. I can't remember if
All
it
right,
was this
Jeff,
weekend or
from
not.
now
but I
on, you have to
took a
write-
bike apart.
You have to write down what you did on the weekend so that
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to sit and think about it during the show.
Yeah. But this weekend may have been the weekend I did this, but I took apart a bike. So, and started to repair it and everything, and give it a paint job and such. So,
Awesome.
yeah.
All right. Well,
With the
why
help
don't
of
we
David.
why don't we go ahead and move on to Star Wars history?
I found your title, your book title, that it was a different title in the UK.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's got two.
Called a bookshop in a van.
No, it's not. It has two other
By
titles.
the river.
Mm-hmm.
One title is Scottish Bookshop Number 1.
That makes more sense.
Title number 2 makes even less sense. Little Shop of Happily Ever After.
That's the name of her van.
Is
It
it?
totally
Little
makes
shop.
sense.
Oh, okay.
Little after
Yeah.
little shop.
Little Shop of Totally Ever After is actually the most sensible of all the
Oh, I
titles.
see. Because this is the thing, but it's like this is titled Little Shop of Happily Ever After in the UK, so don't buy it again. Don't
Yeah.
buy it twice.
Unlike me, who did buy it twice, because
Oh,
Right.
I think the first time somebody gave me the book and I read it, and then I was like, oh, I haven't read this book, so I bought it. Silly me.
That's funny. And can I say, Jeff, that
Yeah.
your Star Wars History Day today is
Yeah.
stupidly easy?
yeah,
It's like
totally.
really easy. Okay. Take it
Go
away.
for it, Jeff.
First one is May 21st, 1980 is when Empire Strikes Back was released in theaters.
Woohoo.
77 millimeter.
40
yeah.
years old. Aren't we all old?
Yes.
I was like 12 years old, man. 13, I guess. I guess I
Man.
just turned 13.
Huh.
Good gravy.
Yes.
Yep.
Awful.
See here. May 20th, 1982. It's principal photography wrapped on Return of the Jedi with the speeder bikes.
You know what?
And it was on budget and schedule. Wow.
Wow.
You know what I have to say about Empire Strikes Back? It is the only Star Wars movie that I have never seen in a theater in Hollywood.
Oh. Well, you did see it in a theater.
Wow.
I saw it in a theater.
Okay.
It is the only Star Wars movie that I didn't see in a theater in Hollywood.
You would have seen it at the Egyptian, I think.
No. Wait, Empire Strikes
No,
Back?
were
No.
you to have seen it in
Oh,
Hollywood?
yeah,
It would
but
have been at the
I
Egyptian.
saw it in Las Vegas.
Wow.
But all of the rest of them.
Well, if it ever comes back to Hollywood, we will
We'll go
go
see
see
it.
it.
Never
Okay.
know.
We will complete
Yeah.
your
Complete
set.
the set. Yeah.
Complete your set.
Wow.
Um,
That was
bef-
actually the first movie that, the only one of the set that I think I did not initially see in theaters.
You didn't see it in theaters?
Originally, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Empire, yeah.
Well, why?
No idea. I think I would have been almost 9.
So you
When it
weren't
came out?
you weren't old
And
enough to
so-
like force the issue.
I wasn't like, I don't think I was heavily into Star Wars as much until Jedi came out. I
weren't,
I
weren't
loved-
quite
yeah,
plugged in. Maybe
Yeah,
you
I mean,
had discovered girls.
Yeah, that's something like that. A New Hope came out in 77, and I saw that when it came out, and then Jedi saw that, but for some reason I didn't see Empire, and I'm
Well,
not
and
necessarily sure why.
the interesting thing is that back in the old days
Yeah,
of the 1970s and into the 80s, It started to lessen in the 80s because we got home video, but movies got re-released the following year. And so, like, Star Wars came out in 77, and some theaters had it through 78, and then other theaters ditched it and then brought it back in, like, 79, just before Empire came out. And they would stagger these things. And so you have to kind of check and go, okay, did I see it Star Wars in 77? Did I see it in 79? Did I see it in 81? You know, wherever, because they would do these re-releases. It was a weird time. And then, of course, you know, home video became the thing, and they went, screw it.
Yeah. So. You know, that's like the clear as day sort of thing was that, yes, I did see A New Hope in theater, you know, with my mom, and the theaters, by the movie theaters that I don't think they're there anymore, but they were next to the Winchester Mystery House.
Oh, cool.
The Century Theaters, I believe, and I think they're gone, but that's where I saw it.
That would be a fun place to see horror movies.
Yeah, right next to it. Very true.
So, Jeff, before you move on to more history, I just wanted to touch on something that's a little farther down in the notes, and that is there's an Empire Strikes Back at 40 live stream panel on May 28th.
Oh, yeah.
And who is in this live stream panel?
I don't know.
Is it just like a bunch of fans, or is it?
It is ILM presents Empire at 40. Join the live stream May 28th at 4 p.m. Pacific time. Sean's like adding it to his calendar. Wait.
Well, what time is it Pacific time?
4 p.m.
Oh, I could actually see it. Okay, it's before this show. So you could see it, and then you could come listen to us.
Is the 28th next Thursday?
The 28th is next Thursday.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at that. So yeah, I don't have any more information, but it shows a very young George Lucas and a very young other people whose names I can't remember.
Well, I mean, it's real easy to find pictures of a very young George Lucas.
It's film. It's like him working on the movie.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Neat. Yeah. Well, that could be really fun. Every time we've seen those guys talk, they're amazing, and the stories they tell are incredible. And and honestly, though, Jeff and I went to see Muppet Guys Talking, which is having a little bit of a revival right now because of Jim Henson's the 30th anniversary of his passing. And they just did a big thing that I didn't get to see yet, but they did a 30th anniversary Jim Henson thing. But so Jeff and I went to see this up at the Skirball Center. So we saw it on a big screen instead of watching it on TV. Yes. And then we had Bill Beretta, and who was it? Dave Goles was there?
I think so.
Talking about Dave Goles does Gonzo, and Bill Beretta is Pepe the Shrimp. And they were there and talking about stuff, which was really cool. And so now, every time I see one of these panels where somebody's going to talk about something, that was so amazing that's my benchmark. And so I totally go, well, if it's not as good as that, I don't care.
I know, man.
Because that was so great. Because they were so involved, and it was really fun. And the whole movie was about, you know, it is exactly what the title says: Muppet Guys Talking.
Yeah, was it like Fran Brill?
Yeah, I think so. The one poor token female. Yeah. But yeah, it was pretty great. It's a Frank Oz thing, and it's just guys BSing about their career, which is really terrific. So
yeah.
All right, Jeff, you want to resume Star Wars history?
Yeah. So let's see here. May 19th, 1999, The Phantom Menace.
Wait, you skipped one.
No, I did that one.
Okay.
Yeah, it was the other one was the wrapped production of Return of the Jedi, and it said it scheduled on a budget.
Okay.
Yeah,
we did that one.
Sorry,
I did that one.
I missed it when
I think we were just stuck in Empire Land is what happened.
Right. Well, they all kind of blend together for Colleen.
Yeah.
We're not saying that.
So The Phantom Menace came out, and it grossed a ton of money, and we'll move on to the next one.
The Phantom Menace came out, and it was gross. It grossed a lot of money.
Yeah, totally gross, man. And then we have May 17th, 2017, Rogue One. Got the movie of the year at MTV's Movie and TV Awards.
One movie of the year. Very nice.
Yes, sir.
And I gotta say, so I have actually been seeing people put Rogue One at the top of their ranking list.
Yes.
Of all the Star Wars movies. They're like better than The Empire Strikes Back, which is a surprise. Because almost, I would say like 90% of people put The Empire Strikes Back at the top of their Star Wars
list.
ranking. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a hard time with it because I like Star Wars and Empire equally. They're very different movies, and I like them for very different reasons. So there are days where I like Star Wars and days where I like Empire, and it goes back and forth. So I pretty much put them even, and then right under that is Rogue One, just because it feeds right into it, which is totally amazing. So
That's true.
But
I've seen people put on their list the holiday special above some movies. So
well, that's because they're twisted. Honestly,
when I saw that, I died. I was so funny.
No, I think some people who do that, they're just like they're trolling you.
yeah, but darn funny.
Oh my gosh, it's we're doing a video for the Star Wars thing. That's a cooking thing. I'm editing it right now, and so Colleen made cookies, and it's sort of like an instructional, here we are in the kitchen kind of a deal. And
Gotcha.
I am doing nothing, and Colleen is doing all the work, and I'm trying to edit the video. So I'm working in post production. But
so who did more work? Sean.
Probably. But the when we were introducing Colleen's character, which is her Galaxy's Edge character, we introduced her, and I said that she was known for helping doing work with Gourmanda for Life Day celebrations, and for Cookie Tuggs, Cookie Tuggs is the chef at Maz Kanata's castle. And since he suddenly became unemployed, thanks to the First Order, he is now running Docking Bay 7 in Galaxy's Edge in Batuu. He landed his ship on top and opened a restaurant underneath. So those were that was Colleen's character's CV. It was like doing stuff with those guys.
Yes.
Which I thought was very funny.
Kelly asks whose work tastes better. Mine tastes better. Because you don't want to lick digital.
You really
things.
don't. You really don't.
Especially now.
It's like putting your tongue on a 9-volt. It's just not pleasant.
It's tingly.
Yeah.
All right, so there's a Star Wars rumor, shocking.
Oh my God.
No way.
That not Timothy
Omenson? Right.
but Timothy Oliphant
Yes.
Right.
joins the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Possibly
Maybe.
playing as Boba Fett.
As Boba
we don't
Fett,
know.
yeah.
It is a rumor.
So
We
what I
wanted
read
to be
about it,
Omenson.
the supposed rumor is that no, he's not Boba, but he's wearing like something that's looks like the armor of Boba.
Maybe he went
Not-
into
but
the
not playing Boba at all,
Sarlacc
another
pit.
character.
He goes into the Sarlacc pit and gets the armor.
Well, maybe
He's
the
like
Sarlacc
someone
spit it
pretending
out.
to be a Mandalorian, so to speak.
Oh,
Yeah.
faker.
But I can see like them adding a Timothy Oliphant to the cast. I think that's something I see as plausible because they're not going, well, look, he's a
famous
Skywalker's
guy.
uncle.
Right. Yeah.
It's just
I like the Timothy Omenson thing though, which is great.
Yeah.
And just in case you don't know who Timothy Omenson is, he was Lassiter in the TV series Psych, where he was like the serious cop, and he was the king in Gallivant.
Yes.
And he's done all sorts of other great stuff, and he's really neat. And I would love that show so much more if they put him in it.
Yeah.
That would be, and not that I like the Mandalorian
It would be
anyway.
hard though because when he took off his helmet, you'd be laughing
You would
so
laugh,
hard
right.
that
Yes.
it would.
This
be,
is a problem.
he's trying to be all serious, and you're like, but it's funny.
Yeah, but you're right, Jeff. All the other rumors for the Mandalorian are like such and such famous person is playing such and such fan favorite character.
yeah.
And man, does that get old? It just gets really old. And I mentioned to somebody on Facebook, I kind of poked them with a sharp stick. I said, look, the more they make these rumored announcements of characters, the less I want to watch the show. Because if they're true, what are the surprises going to be?
Yeah, exactly.
They'll run out of surprises. So
I have a feeling that none of these have been true until Timothy was announced. I think that's the only one that's probably true.
probably.
The rest are just
and
bogus.
I'm hoping that they manage to keep whatever secrets they want us to see revealed in time under wraps.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, totally.
we were all blown away by so many things in The Mandalorian, and not just the Baby Yoda thing, but there was like lots of things that were like, oh my God, that was amazing. And I love that. And that's what I want from that show. I want them to surprise me and to show me things I don't see coming. And it's why I like The Last Jedi. And so, if they can do that with the TV series too, I'm like, yes, that would be great. So,
Yeah, true.
Some fans got together, or got them by themselves, and made an R9D9 vacuum. They basically took a Roomba and mounted a droid, an R2D2-like droid, onto it.
Yeah, so they took an astromech. I can only imagine it's made out of cardboard. It's like super
It has
lightweight.
to be something light.
And so they made the Roomba the front foot, and then there are two back feet that probably have little casters in it, and it just drives around the apartment and it cleans the house. And it's cute. It looks pretty great. Although I have to say they probably compromised the cleaning ability just a little bit of it, because the thing can't like spin around and back up and do stuff like that.
I think it can spin around.
But for sheer
just not very well.
right, but it can't like back into a corner,
No.
and it certainly can't go
Gotcha.
under your couch anymore.
Yeah. I'm sure it was just to be clever more than it was
Well, no,
to actually
and
clean.
from a just isn't this awesome standpoint. And I'm looking at a picture of it right now. So most of it looks like it's made out of cardboard. The main body appears to be one of those trash cans with the poke-in dome that's got the little flippy dome thing. It looks like one of those, which basically means that it's probably about like 24 inches high, and so it's like maybe 2/3 scale regular R2 unit, and that makes a lot more sense. But it looks really fun, and I mean, who doesn't want this thing cruising around their house?
Me.
Yeah.
Well, you don't, yeah.
Not because I'd have a problem with a astromech droid cruising around the house.
We don't have any space.
Where would you put it?
Right.
Yeah.
We don't have any space.
Yeah.
There's no room.
And we already have a Roomba vacuum that is almost perfect. It works really well
It's
when
not almost
when you
perfect.
fire it off. It works great. But the problem
Nope,
is
it's a piece of junk.
you can't schedule it to do intermittent days. It either goes every single day or it goes one time.
So
which
since
is a
Sean
huge
doesn't
problem.
want it to go every single day, it basically never gets used. So in my opinion, it is a useless piece of junk because it never gets used.
Which it works well when you run it, but you have to run it, which is a bummer. And it's Samsung makes it. And when we talked to them about designing this thing, I was pretty sure they said that it was going to have a selectable calendar. So I'm really kind of bummed that you can't do it.
Yeah.
I keep hoping there's like Samsung connected home thing. I keep hoping there's a thing you can do with your phone that like changes that. Because I like it and it's great and I like to run it, but I don't like to have to run it. I like to just like let it go. I used to start it and then go away. Just let it do
It
its
hasn't
thing.
been started in months.
It hasn't. It hasn't gone in a while.
Yes, because I've been using the other vacuum. Story time with Clark Gregg. So this was fun. I don't know if anybody else watched this, but Clark Gregg, he introduced his new puppy, whose name is Lucy, and she's quite adorable. And then he said that as we're in quarantine and we're all staying at home, what he likes to do is read his favorite books over and over. And one of his favorite storybooks is The Witch and the Wookiee. And
And can I say I've never heard of it? How old can this book possibly be?
I feel that he was stretching the truth. Because, number one, I've never heard of The Witch and the Wookiee. And number two, he mispronounced the word Hoth. He didn't know how to say the name of the planet Hoth.
I'm not a witch. I'm a Wookiee.
So, I mean, I have mispronounced things, so,
Right.
I'm totally being mean here, but he called it Hoth.
Well,
And then he said it again.
I'm kind of scrubbing through here to see if I can find it. I've got the video, and I don't know if you guys can hear it.
I heard something.
If I play it. I know that we'll hear it. I just don't know if it'll go out over there.
Oh.
And so I'm trying to find.
It was apparently published on August 6, 2019.
George Mann was the author of it. It's a
Do we
short
know
story.
George Mann? I don't know George Mann.
Yeah,
Well,
George Mann and Grant Griffith illustrated, but 2019 it was published.
Okay. Well, like I said, I didn't think it was like a super classic because how old could it have possibly been? And
I mean, don't get me wrong, it was fun to listen to the story read by Clark Gregg, and I recommend that you all do it, but the fact that he said, this is one of my favorite stories.
Right.
And that he didn't know how to pronounce Hoth made me laugh.
Well, and I'm just kind of like looking for Hoth in the story. I can't find it.
I'm going to totally laugh if you find it and I wasn't paying attention and they weren't talking about the planet.
Oh, no, oh, shoot. I just found it. Here it is. Okay, let's see if we can hear it.
And desperately in need of safe haven and a suitable hiding place in which to store their ill-gotten gains. Hounded at every turn by those who would have their revenge, the pirates fled from star system to star system until finally, in the orbit of the planet Jas, in the system of Hoth, they found momentary respite.
The system of Hoth.
I mean, maybe he's from the north.
Yeah, he could be from the north.
Maybe that's how they pronounce Hoth in the north.
Right.
Right. Lots of planets have a north.
so we're here in the Great White North of Hoth, eh? we got some cold ones. We got a little back aching. Fired up the Coleman. All right. We got to do that, Jeff. We have to do like Bob and Doug of the Great White Hoth.
Yes.
I don't even want to imagine what Tauntaun back bacon smells like.
Oh, jeez.
Chicken? I don't know.
I could eat some chicken.
I mean,
I can have some chicken.
Oh,
That's
I
really
look
funny.
out for the Imperial hockey pucks, eh?
That's right. Don't watch where you step, eh? The Witch and the Wookiee. The classic story. The Witch. I'm not a witch. I'm a Wookiee. I'm not sure I even want to be that anymore.
Apparently, Joe Johnston gave a talked about the journey to create Boba Fett.
Yeah, on StarWars.com.
Clearly, I didn't do any reading of that
Joe
article.
Johnston, first off, who we seem to have been kind of seeing a lot of lately because he did The Rocketeer, and we watched Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, which I think was also Joe Johnston. And so, of course, he got his start. If I got my right ILM guy, Joe Johnston went to Cal Arts, but he also went to PCC, Pasadena City College, and studied like marine biology or something. And then he got into art, and then he got hijacked for this weird little space movie that everybody was trying to get on called Star Wars. And so he worked through Star Wars. He stayed with ILM. And then he did a lot of designs for Star Wars in addition to Ralph McQuarrie and things. Joe was doing a lot of hardware designs.
Yeah.
And then when Empire came around, they designed this Super Commando costume, which was not Boba Fett. It was not like a named character. It was just like an uber stormtrooper.
Yes.
Yeah, so there's this whole cool story on StarWars.com where they interview him and he talks about how it was this super trooper, and they're like the clones, like for the Clone Wars, there were supposed to be 40,000 of these guys, and instead we ended up with like one Boba Fett. But sometimes something's too cool. So he's got all the concept sketches are up on StarWars.com, and including my favorite one that I've ever seen, which is like he drew all the separate elements that go on the guy, it's almost like a paper doll.
Oh, wow.
Where it's like, here's the backpack, here's the front, here's the vest, here's the belt, here's the this, which is super cool because it kind of shows you all the elements.
It's like Star Wars fashion plates.
Sort of, yeah. It was really neat. But and then they have the first costume test where Boba Fett started out all in white, and he's either over there or he's up here. I don't know where I put him, but I have one of those like Black Series custom Uber white concept Darth Vader or Boba Fett's, which are cool. But when the guy first put the costume on, he didn't know what to do with the Wookiee braids that were they're supposed to be braided Wookiee pelts from stuff that he captured. He didn't know what to do with them, so he just hung them out the helmet like dreadlocks. That was kind of awesome. I'm like, yeah. But what do? Somebody hands you this thing and says, "Put it on." It's like, here's something that's got 47 pieces. Go put it on. And
nice.
There's a distinct possibility that the cod piece could end up as a shoulder bell and vice versa if they don't tell you what goes where. Anyway, it's a really neat article. It's longer than you think it is, which is super cool because they just keep giving all sorts of great information. And Joe Johnston, he went on. He did the Rocketeer, which was incredible, and we always thought we were going to get a sequel to the Rocketeer.
Yeah.
Instead, we got Captain America, which, for all intents and purposes, might as well be a sequel to the Rocketeer. It's the same time period. It's about a bunch of people going off and saving the world, and it was great. So Joe Johnston just has way too much talent for one individual.
Alrighty, moving on to theme parks. Cast members who are not able to go to the parks because the parks are all closed have been recreating rides and parades at home. So the Jungle Cruise skippers got together, and by got together I mean virtually.
Right.
And they each submitted a little part of the ride with their little jokes. It was very cute. I watched it I feel like I watched it a month ago.
I did. It seems really old.
Yeah. And then there's another one here that is celebrating the wonderful... I can't speak.
Celebrating a wonderful world.
Celebrating the wonderful world of Disney Parade Paris. Yeah. So, and I haven't seen that yet, so I'll have to go take a look at that afterwards.
Yeah. I love that these guys are doing it. The Dapper Dans have had a couple of songs that they've done.
Yeah.
Which are really neat. And not just like Disneyland's Dapper Dans, like they've done Walt Disney World, and they've had all of them because they have like rotating groups that come through, and so you'll have like 12 or 14 Dapper Dans all singing in harmony because they all know the song.
Yeah.
Okay, I definitely am going to have to watch the Celebrating the Wonderful World of Disney Parade because it's cast members from all over the world. Or hang on,
Oh, that's
the
fun.
video was made by over 160 former Disneyland Paris cast members, and the video just went.
Did you just say 160?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Hang on a second. Let me see if I can pause.
I mean, I want to watch it just because I love Disneyland Paris.
Yeah.
So
Recording
cool.
their own videos in isolation all around the world. And then the videos were edited together. So it's the same thing.
Right. Same kind of deal.
But yeah, I'd like to watch that. The Dapper Dans, I think I liked this one, the Grim Grinning Ghosts one, even better than their first effort.
Whatever the first song was, I don't remember what it was, but it was like not one of my favorite songs.
Yeah, I'm going to look it up while you talk
It
about
was-
Grim Grinning Ghosts.
Yeah.
If I
So,
can get my mouse to come back. Hello?
but of course,
Hello.
everybody knows and can probably sing Grim Grinning Ghosts. And were you guys able to hear the video that we did for what's his name? Clark Gregg? So, I mean, if that's the case, I'll play a little bit of this for you. audio wise. I'm not sure about the radio guys, if the radio guys can hear it yet or not. But let's see. I'm trying to get to the singing part.
I can't tell what the Dapper Dan's
of
sing.
course.
When the cliff doors creak and the tombstones sway, spooks come out for a swinging wake. Happy haunts materialize and begin to vocalize. Grim grinning gulls come out to socialize. Now don't close your eyes and don't try to hide. Or a silly spook may sit by your side. Shroud, sit by your side. Shroud.
That's weird. That's about 16 guys all
Yeah.
singing, which are pretty
That's awesome.
amazing. Yeah, it's super cool, and it's fun. They're all wearing as much of a costume as they can, which is neat. And they're the Dapper Dans. They know the Disney sound. The neat thing about Disney, or this may drive you nuts, it depends. You can listen to a vocal group or a music group or anything from Disney parks, and you can identify it instantly because they have a unified sound, which is really cool. So it's kind of interesting. And Albert Bishop sent me a note and said that seasonally they're called the Cadaver Dans around Halloween time, but they're not billing themselves as the Cadaver Dans here.
The previous version, the Voices from Home Dapper Dan's Share Disney Magic, was from both Florida and LA.
Right.
And
What did they sing though? I can't remember.
I can't tell unless I can turn it on.
Oh, I
because
see.
Hang on a second. Let me.
Because was it like a Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow, or
I can't. I just hear us
oh
if I turn it on, so I can't. And there's no, I'm looking at all the comments, and it doesn't say what the song is that they're singing. It just says Disney Magic.
okay.
So, all right, so we can check that out later, but I can't listen to it without.
Dope.
Boo.
I'm checking in with Kit, who said she's hearing kind of static on Krypton, and I don't
Uh-oh.
know. I don't know if that's just like static over us because maybe we're too loud on Krypton or something, or we're hearing static for a while over Krypton for some reason that I
Yeah.
don't know why.
Yeah.
I'm going to jump ahead and talk about this Sounds of Disneyland.
Yeah, go for it.
Somebody put together a web page where you can go. It's called soundsofdisneyland.com, and you can go and click on the link that is the ride, and it will give you the background music
Oh, that's cool.
for that. So there's the Tiki Room, the main gate, the railroad, the band, the gallery. So go check it out. It's fun.
That sounds kind of like what David did, but
Yeah, except David did
Kinda.
it with videos.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
artwork is fun, but I like what David did better. He took a map of the park,
Right.
the
Yeah.
maps that they hand out at the gate, and he made it clickable in HTML so that when
Yeah.
you click on a ride, it will show you
A ride
video,
through.
but a
A
ride
ride,
through
yeah.
video. Yeah,
Yeah. So you could sort of replicate a day.
yeah.
Of
I think
which is really
Yeah.
cool.
I like that a little bit
Neat.
better because you get video and audio,
oh, okay.
so that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
There is a new leadership team for Disney. And
parks?
the parks.
Well, they do keep
thought it was the
changing
parks.
from time to time.
Yeah, Disney Parks Experience and Products has a new chairman. These aren't people that I recognize any of
No,
them. They have a
so-
new chairman, they have a president of Walt Disney World Resort, a president of Disneyland Resort, a president of Consumer Products, and a president of Signature Experiences.
So the person who took over overall for chairman of Disney Parks Experiences and Products, who is Josh D'Amaro, he came from Walt Disney World Resort as president. And so at least he's got that kind of background, and he's worked with the parks, and so he knows the Disney way. He came from Georgetown University, I guess. Jeff Valey is moving up from something called Disney Signature Experiences, and he's taking over Walt Disney World. Ken Potrock was president of Disney Consumer Products, and now he's president of Disneyland. And Kareem Daniel was president of Imagineering Operations and Product Creation and Publishing and Games, is now president of Consumer Products overall.
Including games and publishing.
Games and publishing, yeah. So kind of interesting stuff.
It sounds like they just basically did a shuffle.
Yeah, and everybody kind of bumped up, and there's like lists and lists and lists, and resumes and all of that kind of stuff to be viewed on the link that we have that I assume Kit will post. But it's to be expected. I mean, one guy leaves, everybody's got to bump up. There was a campaign a while back that kind of focused on this very thing, which was Paul Pressler, who was president of Disneyland, was making a lot of wide changes to the park, and I think it was under Michael Eisner's watch. And there were a lot of things that people were grumpy about, like things that they love now, like the churro carts, things like that. They were getting all bent out of shape. And so there was a campaign to promote Paul Pressler with the thought that if they promote him up into the company, that everybody would reshuffle up one, and that would fix the problems. Mm-hmm. So I think it's really funny when that actually happens. Like everybody just take the next job.
That's funny.
Tetris up and sit down.
Exactly.
Okay. And Hong Kong Disneyland is starting soft openings this week with their cast members to try and get back to normal there. I'm not sure what their soft opening is going to look like.
Well,
it's opening to cast members only.
Right. And so for the past couple of days, cast members have been there kind of getting reacquainted with the park and things like that, and probably learning all of the new social distancing stuff that you need to observe.
And helping to set things
what to
up.
watch out for, and how to... There's a and I'm learning this myself. There is a fine way to be helpful and friendly to somebody while staying 6 feet away from them. Mm-hmm. And I got gas the other day after Monday, and somebody posted pictures of my car at the gas station, boom, up on Facebook, up on Instagram right away. And the guy who wanted to take pictures was like, "Oh, can I check your car out?" And I'm like, "Yes." And I had to move away from my car and stand 6 feet away from everybody with my mask on and let him do what he was going to do in the car. And then he left and I went back to my car. It's a weird thing. And I imagine it's going to be even worse for the Disney people where you have lines that you're supposed to stand in, and well,
it's interesting because this soft opening is from the 19th to the 21st, which is today. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't sound like they have an opening date yet. They're having the employees come in to get used to things, maybe help set it up, and and then we'll hear more announcements as things go on.
They did that at Shanghai, so.
Yeah, it's been open for a week now, so I wonder how that's going. I didn't see any reports since the first day.
It seemed pretty ghost towny. And so if they're limiting attendance, it's looking pretty.
I heard they only let in that they had only let in 300 people or something on the first day, or something, some real low number.
That would be weirdly low.
I think so. Yeah, I don't think that's right, but
yeah, I don't know. Sorry, I was looking to see if there were any more notes about it. It opened on May 11th, so a week and a half ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
But there haven't been any further reports that I saw in a very quick Google search.
Hmm.
Universal Orlando is targeting June 5th for reopening in Florida. So that's interesting.
Well, I'll have to say that the South is pretty aggressive in their opening strategies. Georgia is being really, really, we're doing this and we're, hell or high water kind of a deal, which is, I think, is why Dragon Con hasn't called it yet.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But somebody was posting, I was chatting with somebody, I think, online, that said there are at least four events going on the same weekend as Dragon Con. So there's like Dragon Con, there's the Black Man's Gay Pride Parade that's going on that Dragon Con has to route around so that they don't collide. There's a NASCAR event going on, and I think there's some other sporting event that's happening. And so, I mean, it's just, there's going to be so many people in Atlanta, it's going to be nuts. With Florida.
Well, Universal Orlando is opening June 1st
Yeah.
for employees as a dry run.
Okay.
And then on June 3rd, they have invited guests and no one else. And then on June 5th, it's going to open. And they've got all the usual disclaimers about social distancing and temperature checks. And apparently, if a guest doesn't have a mask, one will be provided for them.
Okay.
But there's no valet parking, there's no misting, there's no interactive play areas, there are no more meet and greets. Menus
I thought you were going to say there was no more meat.
Yeah.
Like,
Menus
we've gone
in
vegan.
restaurants will be disposable. Cash will be accepted but discouraged. And it
'cause they
says
don't want you to hand
employees
over,
will
yeah.
self-check at home and then be checked again once they arrive to work.
Right.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still have my
Doubts?
not exactly doubts, reservations, I think is the term I'm
Reservations.
looking for, because I really think we ought to play it a little safer than that. I just feel like opening like right now is a little tough. We're starting to have, like, Ventura County is the next county over from us, and they are starting to open some restaurants and some stores and things like that, and they're gonna see how it goes.
Gotcha.
But basically what that means is everybody from Los Angeles County is just going to go to Ventura County, which I think is what they're counting on because they want the money.
Well, it's a terrible idea because
Oh, yeah.
LA County has so much,
We
so
have
many
had
deaths
so
right now.
many cases of
Yeah.
right, and
We're
and
still
so,
having approximately 50 deaths a day.
right, and
in
so
Los Angeles.
they're like, well, we feel safe enough that
Fun.
we're going to open this, and I'm thinking we're just going to take it to them and
Yeah.
go, here you go, you
Right.
have some too.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah, which is nuts. But I understand that people are in tough spots, and I understand that money is needed to live, and
Yeah.
we need to go back to work. And
There are no easy answers.
no, it's really tough. But that said, I have seen so many people on my Facebook feed who have lost people this week.
Yeah.
People are dying. They're losing grandparents and parents and friends, and it's been really bad. And a lot of the people who have gone into the hospital for something else and then died of COVID. And it's just been crazy. And it's been an awful, a very depressing week from that standpoint. And I don't want to see more people get sick. And so opening a theme park, I think, is just, it's kind of asking for trouble.
Yeah.
And Disney posted a thing, it's probably on our list, but Disney posted a thing that said, it basically said, you accept responsibility for coming to
Yep.
our park.
Yeah.
And it's like, we know that this exists, we know that this is a problem.
Yeah.
If you come here, you are accepting that this is a
Yeah.
possibility that you're going to get
You
this.
could die, and it's not our fault.
Yeah, so-
Basically.
Kind of nuts. On that cheerful note, let me remind you, at the top of the hour here, that you are listening to Krypton Radio at kryptonradio.com. We have a newsletter button. You can click there to sign up to get all the cool news articles that we write there on your in your email box. So do check that out. if you are listening to Krypton Radio and you want to see all of the links that Kit Sovine is posting of the things that we're talking about, please go to facebook.com/DockingBay94 Radio Show. It's all one word. Go there, check that out. And if you haven't yet, click like on that, would you? Let us know that you were there, because we always appreciate that. If you are watching us, you are at twitch.tv/docking_bay_94. All of the links I talked about are being posted in the chat on the sidebar. We appreciate all your comments, too. We try to monitor both places. So if you have anything to say, speak up. Please do. We gladly accept interruptions here on the show, because honestly, we want to talk about what you guys want to talk about. So please do. And as a reminder, if you didn't tune in at the beginning of the show, it's the 40th birthday of The Empire Strikes Back.
Woo!
It's pretty awesome.
And we have a note that we should talk about the fact that it's the 30th anniversary of the final episode of Newhart.
Yes, well, and I mentioned it on my show this morning, and I didn't play the music from it. I had it queued up, but I decided to play music for Mr. T's birthday because a friend of mine was listening, and he is an A-Team fan. But yeah, there's it's the anniversary, especially of the finale, the great finale that referenced the original Newhart show.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Newhart referenced the Bob Newhart show and changed the entire series in like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
That was the best.
Like, made the entire series a dream.
Right. Oh my God. In the best way.
Yeah.
Not like what was it, Dallas, where the guy had a dream in the shower, or he fell and hit his head, or like something in Patrick Duffy was all in his head,
right,
or something, which was
well,
nuts.
I mean, there have been a lot of things. Like there was a whole movie that had I can't remember his name. He was Spicoli.
Sean Penn.
Okay, so Sean Penn did this whole movie where at the end of the movie he gets totally cornered and there's no way for him to get out. But you're like, he's narrating the movie, so how?
He's obviously alive, right?
Yeah. So he gets murdered, like totally killed with 1,000 machine guns or whatever happens.
Sure.
And then he wakes up. He was sleeping. It was all a dream. The whole movie, and it was just lame.
Yeah.
But the Bob Newhart show was so well done.
Oh, and I have to say, ending a series is hard. St. Elsewhere ended with one of the doctor's kids he had Downs, or he was autistic, and he had a snow globe with the hospital inside it, and apparently everything that happened in the series was in his imagination, because he was like dreaming up the stuff inside the hospital. And that left people with a little bit of a bad taste in their mouth. It was like an unsatisfying end. And I'll tell you the worst one I think I've ever seen. The one that made me really bad. And you didn't watch this show. I did. I watched every season of this show. Dexter.
Yeah, I have no idea what happened, but I remember you ranting about it.
It's just because I love everybody who's in that show. They did a really good job. The actors are tremendous. The
Not
stories,
to be confused with Dexter's Lab.
Stories were really great, and then the last episode, the way they wrapped the thing up, just really sucked. I have to say, we just found out today that a show that we really like, and that that I've been in, called Schooled, which is an Adam Goldberg show.
Yeah.
It got canceled, and it's not coming back next season. They did 35 episodes. It went for a couple of seasons, and ABC Disney decided to not renew it. But it was kind of a surprise to everybody, because we thought the series was doing really well, and the series really found itself. It started rough, and then it turned out the Goldbergs is really fun, and don't get me wrong, I totally love it. But the Goldbergs has a formula, and it hits what you expect it to hit, and it didn't have as much heart as School did. Where School, you were like, wow, okay, this was really great. And so we found out today that it was canceled. But I'm wondering if they knew because we just watched the last episode last night, not knowing it was the last episode. But they did this nice slideshow memorial thing to all the real teachers that were portrayed on the show.
I wondered why they did that.
Right?
It seemed like a weird thing.
It was a little
they've
odd.
interviewed a bunch of them
right,
before.
but it was just kind of a nice, it seemed like a really nice, like, oh, it's the end of the season, let's do that. But when I found out it was canceled, I flashed back to that, and I'm like, that's probably why. Because I went on Adam Goldberg's Twitter account to offer my condolences, and he said, let me be the first to tell you we got canceled. So they must have known that it was coming. But you know, you never know what's going to happen with shows, and the shows that they saved. I had a list earlier. I was scratching my head. I'm like, seriously, you kept that? Why did you keep that?
You know.
Yeah, but it's a crapshoot. You never know what's and I find that the shows that tend to have a lot of heart in them only last for a limited time. Every time they try to do a show that's like inspiring, that's not like touched by an angel kind of weirdness, it really only lasts a couple of seasons, and it's usually about the time it figures out where it's going, it gets canceled.
Touched by an Angel was only a couple seasons?
No, Touched by an Angel went on for a long time. That was a dumb series.
Sorry, I was answering somebody's thing, and
That's okay.
that's what it sounded like you said to me.
No, you and I, Colleen, have watched a whole bunch of shows that we thought should have continued and were sort of inspiring and kind of cool. Not in a cloying way like Touched by an Angel, I always thought was kind of cloying.
I see, okay.
But we watched Eli Stone was a really great one that was like really kind of optimistic and interesting.
Yeah.
The one that we were watching with, was it Jason Ritter?
Yeah, you're right. That was similar to Touched by an Angel, but it was better.
But it was better. It was like, it wasn't cloying, but it was optimistic.
What was that called?
I don't remember. But it only lasted like a season or two. And the problem is that every time I find a show like this that I'm like, oh, this is cool, and it's taking a kind of an optimistic look on things, and the guy usually has some kind of problem he's got to work through, and it's not like, you know, everything's sweetness and light and
Kevin probably saves the world.
That was it, yeah. And so, you know, but every time I get into a show like that, they cancel it. Every single time. So it's my fault.
Firefly, might I just
That's all
say?
you do.
Firefly. Well, I'm not entirely sure I look at Firefly as an optimistic show.
Okay, no, it's not.
But it was a great show.
Yeah.
And we did get into it after it was canceled.
Fox got killed.
Yes.
Yes. Of course, we made it so that they don't make any more movies.
Oh dear.
Right.
Because we like the movie.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
So getting back to our list here.
Yes.
Disney Springs reopened. They had a liability disclaimer that basically said, if you get COVID, it's not our fault.
Right.
Yeah.
You knew the job was dangerous when you took it, is basically the way we phrase it in our household.
I basically, I don't understand why people were going there, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a live stream walkthrough, and it's just basically, I've been to Disney Springs. It's fun, but is it worth getting COVID? I'm not. I don't think so.
People go a big, like, what was it? Something like a huge line going out of like Starbucks. I'm like, or not Starbucks, but there's a coffee house there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and people weren't wearing masks.
And it's like, don't you guys have coffee houses where you live?
Well, I mean, the thing that was distressing to me was that, like, there was a guy who was doing commentary. He was like filming himself. Like,
sure.
He wasn't wearing a mask.
Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, look, people, just, you know, I don't want to be near you if you don't have a mask, because you're not protecting you, you're protecting me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, looking at Disney Springs, which is their big shopping district, they have limited parking. They don't have parking guides. You're on your own. When you pull in, you're on your own. They have never done a bag check, like Downtown Disney does a bag check.
I was wondering about that, because they showed where they take your temperature.
Yeah. They have
And it
they
was
have
like, where's the
temperature
bag
screening,
check?
but they do not have a bag check.
That's weird.
Yeah, and then they have like
Oh.
COVID warning signs like on sawhorses that are everywhere as you walk in, and they're like, warning. It says this is the key phrase. It says, by visiting Walt Disney World, you voluntarily assume all risks related to exposure to COVID-19. That is you knew the job was dangerous when you took it phrase.
Which honestly
Yeah.
should go without saying.
right.
But I understand why they're putting it.
In our litigious society,
I mean, I would do that too.
right. And then there's a sign with pictograms on it. And one of them says, wear a mask, maintain distance.
So I
Don't
personally
clump up.
don't understand people running back to places like this so soon. But on the other hand, I read an article about how much domestic violence is up right now.
Because people are stuck living together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And apparently, as soon as China reopened, is it China? The
Shanghai.
number of people, not Disney, just the country.
Just the country, sure.
Okay.
The number of people filing for divorce skyrocketed.
Wow.
Like, so many people came out of quarantine and went, I hate your guts.
Well,
I'm out of here.
I have to say that this kind of a situation, we as a society, as people, have probably never spent as much time with our significant others, partners, spouses, whatever you want to call them, or families in this tight quarters for so long as we have over this. Because this has been just over 60 days. It's like 2 months,
Yeah.
right? And now Colleen and I, when we first got together, I couldn't drive. Legally blind, couldn't get a license, didn't have a car. And so everywhere we went together. We planned our stuff together. So we were at home together. Our weekends were spent together. Our events were all together. We very rarely did anything separate except for obligatory work, kind of stuff. And honestly, this feels like we have jumped back into that kind of thing. It's not that we're working on projects together, different projects, but same space and things like that. And we're doing a lot less out in the wild, apart from each other. Most people can't handle that.
Yeah.
And
I don't
most
get it.
people,
I've kind of enjoyed it.
it hasn't been bad.
Sorry.
We haven't killed each other. It's been nice, and but a lot of us use work as a buffer space from our relationship. It's like, I can stand my spouse up to this point, and then I need to go to work and commiserate with my friends about our spouses, or whatever. And so that's a huge problem.
Well, and imagine if there is domestic violence in your household at all.
Oh my gosh.
Then it's just,
Get
it must
out.
be horrific.
Yeah, if there's
Yeah.
domestic violence and you're trapped with somebody, even if we're under quarantine, find a friend to help you get out.
Yeah.
And I mean, seriously, if somebody contacted me right now and said, help, you need to get me out of here, I would put on my mask and find a pair of gloves, and I would come find you and get you out of there, because you can't stay there. You can't stay in a toxic situation where you're going to be abused. You just can't. Even, I know we're under quarantine and whatever. You just can't. I don't know where you're going to go, but you have friends to help you find a place to go. There are a lot of calls to be made like that, though. Like our friends David and Sarah just postponed their marriage, the wedding.
But I mean, they already live together.
Yeah, they live together and everything's cool. But they, I know people who are out officiating weddings, even though we're all closed off, and so it's like the couple, and it's there.
Done it online,
right? And so you make these decisions of what to do in times like this. But if it's something desperate, even if you're feeling down in like, kind of a depressed, suicidal way, and because you need people, there are ways around that. You got to find people, and you got to contact somebody, and you got to do it, because I know we're locked down and we're not supposed to see people. But honestly, if you have a health emergency, the EMTs will show up at your house.
Right.
And
Yeah.
they will work on you because that is their job, and it's an emergency. That's what domestic abuse is the same way. Depression is the same way. These are emergencies, and you got to treat them like that. So, but yeah, I could totally see where divorce goes way up because
Yeah.
people are spending so much time with no outlet, with no escape.
Right.
Although you could go on a walk by yourself. I can go on a walk by myself.
Mm-hmm.
I can go for a drive at 2 a.m.
I was supposed to go on a walk today, and I didn't.
We ran out of time. Out of time
Yeah.
working on stuff.
Hey, trailers. We actually got a new trailer this week.
Holy cow. Not for anything in
know.
a theater.
But it looks
No.
very much. The movie is called The Old Guard,
Yeah.
and it has Charlize Theron in it.
Yeah.
I think. Okay. And it very much looks like it was supposed to be a theatrical release, and they just
With Charlize Theron. Oh, yeah.
And it also has I can't remember his name. He's
She can't remember his
Kinky
name.
Boots and
oh.
Serenity.
It's Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can't remember his name because you can't pronounce his name.
I can pronounce it. Chiwetel Ejiofor.
There you go.
Anyway, it's called The Old Guard, and gosh, I just watched this. You'd think I'd remember. I remember like
There's lots of guns and
there's
blood.
there's
Well-
a group of 5 people that
Yeah, they're like Wolverine, basically.
get
that
hurt.
Their body regenerates, and they,
Okay.
and they've been living forever, but they have a new one that just
Yeah.
joins them. Yeah.
And do they have to fight to the end with swords, and there can be only one?
No,
I mean,
there's
that
5
would be
of
cool,
them.
but
No. There can be only 5. No, that doesn't really work. I'm out. Forget it.
No.
But yeah, it's gone to
looks
Netflix
fun.
instead of wherever they were gonna
Yeah.
release it.
Yep.
Well, I mean, it looks interesting, and I like just about anything Charlize Theron has done.
Out.
And there are like sort of ninjas in it, so it looks fun.
Sort of ninjas are good.
July 10th, I guess, is when that comes
Yeah.
out.
So that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, looks good.
Sean, do you want to talk about who we've lost this week?
I do. This week was kind of
In brief.
a big deal. Best in Show and A Mighty Wind actor Fred Willard passed away at the age of 86. He was in This Is Spinal Tap and Waiting for Guffman, and he was in Modern Family and Everybody Loves Raymond and all sorts of stuff. Look him up. You will look at his face and go, "Oh, that guy." Unless you're me, in which case you will stand behind him in Burger King and go, "Man, I worked with that guy. Who is that guy?" Colleen's like, "It's Fred
Stop
Willard."
staring.
Stop staring. Yeah. This was my experience with Fred Willard. Gino Silva passed away. He was at the age of 72. He was a hitman in the movie Scarface. He actually took Scarface out in Brian De Palma's movie. Ken Osmond passed away. He was Eddie Haskell in Leave It to Beaver. The creepiest best friend any kid could ever have. Because he was always sucking up to Mrs. Beaver, man. You never knew what his motives were. Really super, super creepy.
Mrs. Cleaver.
That's a lovely dress you're wearing, Mrs. Cleaver. It's like, why are you looking at her dress? What is wrong with you? He eventually actually went on to become a police officer or something.
Wow.
And then Ken Nightingale passed away. And honestly, we only really know about him because in the last 5 years, people have started dressing like him at Star Wars conventions because people are looking for an unusual cosplay to do that's comfortable. Doesn't get more comfortable than this. Ken Nightingale did about 50 films as a boom mic operator. And so he worked on 5 James Bond pictures. He worked on all sorts of stuff. Passed away at the age of 92. But in 1977, in the deserts of Tunisia, part of the British sound crew, he decided he was too hot, stripped down to his tight pink shorts, and brown socks and black shoes. He was a very stylish looking dude. And nothing else. Had a great tan, though, and worked the boom mic. So he's got gloves, and he's working the boom mic, and he's in the background pictures of all of this stuff. Everybody was just dying in the heat.
Yeah.
And so people have been dressing like Pink Shorts Guy around the conventions. Some people going without shirts. Some people wearing really disturbing printed chest tank tops. Yeah. I'm looking at you, Steve Copeland.
Yes.
And anyway, it was really pretty fun because they found him, and in the sound industry, he's considered a legend. He helped a lot of people get their leg up, and a lot of people that he helped in the film industry went on to win Oscars and things. He never did. He was a boom operator and a sound guy, and he didn't. He stayed where he was, and he liked it. And but I'm glad they found him, and I hope he appreciated all these people dressing up like him for the time being. And then the really big one that we lost Charlie Lippincott, who back in 1976 was the president. Well, he was the vice president of basically every single thing at Lucasfilm. It was just absolutely incredible. But he was primarily the PR and promoter guy, and it was called the Star Wars Corporation at the time. And he was the dude who took Star Wars to San Diego Comic-Con in July of '76. Hadn't even been around for 10 years yet, and he had a panel with Roy Thomas and Howard Chaykin, two comic guys. Roy's a story guy, Howard's an artist. And they had the first Star Wars panel about this movie that nobody had heard of. And they had the first Star Wars collectible, which was a Howard Chaykin poster that was sold at the convention for $1 and is now worth $10,000 at auction. That's the highest price I saw. So Charlie showed up, he did that. He took it to Worldcon in Kansas City in '76, and he brought a Darth Vader costume, he brought R2, he brought C-3PO, he put them on display, and he had a panel with slides from the film. And since the movie wasn't going to be out for 9 months, he told them the entire story from opening crawl to medal ceremony in this panel, and he let the audience ask questions. Gary Kurtz was there, and this kid that nobody knew yet, but everybody was going to know, named Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
And they sold out of swag like 2 days into the convention. It was absolutely nuts. But Charlie, for a few years, was vice president of advertising, publicity, promotion, and merchandising. He got the comics going for movies. He got the toys going for movies. He did so much stuff that changed the face of the way movies are marketed and the way blockbusters were perceived. And he left Star Wars. He went on to work on Aliens. He went on to work on Judge Dredd, which he also produced as a producer. He worked on the 1980 Flash Gordon. Before that, he did Alfred Hitchcock movies and things like that. The man was just crazy. Craig Miller, who's a guy that we know through local conventions and stuff, has a whole chapter on him in his book and worked with him for a while. And Craig took over for Charlie when Charlie left. But his wife, Bumpy, has been helping him put all of his stuff online. There's a whole archive that he's got. And Kit will post links, but I'll direct you to KryptonRadio.com. Look up the story. Ryan Miorelli wrote a story that I augmented with a bunch of links and things. Click on those links because he's got call sheets and pre-production art and all this amazing stuff from his collection that he and his wife have been scanning in and putting up. And you can get a real sense of the man, and you can see all of this really cool ancient artifacts of Star Wars and Judge Dredd and Aliens and all of this cool stuff. And if you're a movie buff, you need to check him out. If you've never heard of Charlie Lippincott, familiarize yourself with him because he's an amazing, amazing guy. Very sad to hear of his passing. His health degenerated pretty quickly over the past couple weeks, and it was eventually, I think, COVID that finally kind of got him. And, of course, our heartfelt sympathies to his wife, Bumpy, who's just super sweet, I've only had the chance to talk to the both of them a couple times, but they were just really, really nice people. So very sad to hear about that, especially because he was the guy who kept Star Wars in everybody's minds, and then he had to deal with the opposite side of that coin, where everybody wanted a piece of Star Wars, and he managed it beautifully. So, and although he's the guy to blame, that Comic-Con is taken over completely by blockbuster movies and television, it's his fault. So, so there you go. Very sad to hear of all those passings, but especially Charlie Lippincott was quite a guy. So, super sad to hear about that.
Jeff, you want to take on the speed round?
Yeah. So let me pull my thing back up. There it is. And I this part wasn't in this article. I found another article, but as well, I'll search for it. But coming soon will be Muppets Now to Disney Plus, and from originally they were saying it was going to be just going to be shorts, not like a half-hour episode or anything. It was going to be little shorts,
right?
15 minutes or something. And now but lately I haven't been able to find exactly a time that they're going to be, like a length of time they're going to be. But it seems to be that Scooter has to. I believe he's taking the copy of the show from point A to point B or something, and he's running into all the Muppet hijinks along the way or something like that. Is what they're saying. So, I mean, we'll see. I mean, they're going to have every Muppet you remember, basically in this. So
right. Well, when they're doing something that's just a bunch of snippets, you can have unrelated stuff without having to tell a cohesive story. And if they're using Scooter as the connective thing, basically he can go from weird situation to weird situation. So it could be fun. I read something recently, since there's been so much in the news about Muppets, that Frank Oz was really disappointed with the latest Muppet offering. He really doesn't think Disney gets the Muppets because they're not character driven anymore.
Well, it was like that was back when they were trying to do the show and it was like I think Josh Gad was in charge of getting the show brought back on a show on there, and that got canceled.
Oh, maybe. Well, there was the one that they canceled, but there was the one that they did do, which was the Muppet Reality Show, which was just nobody liked it, and Frank just shook his head and went, "What are you doing?" Because the Muppets are not story driven; they're character driven, and if you don't realize that, you can't write for the Muppets. It's just impossible. So if these are short and condensed, like concentrated Muppets, where you get just the best Muppets. Because honestly, we don't need to see a half hour about Crazy Harry. We just need to see him come in, be nuts, and blow stuff up. Yeah. And that's why the Muppet Show worked, because the Muppet Show was these little tiny snippets that were all character pieces. Yeah.
So it says it's a six episode season. And like I said, Scooter rushes to make his delivery deadlines and upload the new series for streaming, and then along the way is all the just obstacles, distractions of the Muppets and everything along the way.
Well, fingers crossed, because I want a good Muppet. I need something to cleanse my palate after that last thing.
Yeah,
because it was just brutal.
It was awful.
Yeah. And I didn't mind some of the character changes. You know, Kermit didn't have to be with Piggy. He had another girlfriend. That was fine. But the fact that they just put them in real world situations all the time, wasn't cool. And
he stole an ashtray or something.
Fozzie was a kleptomatic. He was like at somebody's house, some celebrity's house, and he stole an ashtray.
It was
and it's like, don't mess with my guys like that.
Yeah. And he was marrying a human.
Yeah.
It was all very weird.
It was super, super strange.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There is a documentary coming out. I don't know when it's coming out, but Neil Patrick Harris is the host of M for Magic, which is about the history of the Magic Castle. So, and for
okay.
those of you who don't live in Los Angeles, you might not know what the Magic Castle is. And it's basically a magician's club where you have to be invited by a member to get in, and
Yeah.
you can have dinner there, you can have drinks there, but you have to say the magic word to get in. And they have magic shows, both stage shows and sleight of hand, close-up magic.
Close-up magic is great because it's
Yeah.
also, these guys are also kind of comedians, and it's just super entertaining.
Right.
I don't see a date skimming through here, but I do see that in addition to Neil Patrick Harris, Jason Alexander, Dick Van Dyke, Colin Farrell, Yeardley Smith, and Lawrence Fishburne are all involved.
Well, that's cool.
They talk about their experiences at the Magic Castle, which is the house itself is a beautiful Victorian home that has been turned into this
Right.
this thing, which is just
in
it's-
Hollywood.
the architecture is really, really pretty cool. We've been fortunate enough to go there probably more than our share because of your dad.
My dad was a member for years and years. He could have had a lifetime membership, but he couldn't afford it at the time.
bummer.
And so, but what's sad, and the amount that the lifetime membership was now, you would laugh. You'd be like, oh, that's so ridiculously small. But
Right.
this was like in 1960. And so he wasn't able to afford that, and unfortunately now that he has retired and he's moved to another state, he can't afford the membership anymore again. And it's
Yeah.
it's really high.
Well, originally at the time, it was something like a $50 buy-in, which doesn't really sound like a lot.
He actually said it was more than
Was
that.
it more than that?
Yeah, because I talked to him about
Well,
it.
because
He
in
said it was more than that.
1960, $50 was worth 500,
Okay, so maybe it was 50.
which is,
yeah.
I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's
Man.
it's because it sounds like a really paltry $50, right?
Yeah.
That's for us. That's like
That's dinner.
you know, Starbucks for 2 months.
Yeah.
You know, whatever. But yeah, it really was kind of a lot.
Yeah. So as a result, I ended up going to the Magic Castle a couple times a year as I was growing up.
Mm-hmm. And we've gone for Oscar parties. We've done all sorts of
Yeah.
stuff, and I love the architecture. The shows are always really terrific, but it's also got like a high cheese factor.
It's really showing its age.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's like going to the circus. You know how mesmerizing the circus is when you're a little kid, and then as you get older and you kind of know how circuses work, and you've been there a lot, and it becomes comfortable to be there.
And also you're looking
That's-
around and you're like, oh, this is like the paint is peeling, and how
Right.
safe is this?
Yeah,
It's kind of like that.
right. I bet that paint's lead.
Ugh.
That's really funny.
Sean?
Yeah, so I'm going to do something. I'm going to deviate from the list here
Dun, dun, dun.
because I've been dying to tear into this all week, and I haven't been able to because I've been doing all this video, and I don't want the distraction. But I got a package in the mail, and I'm pretty sure it's my birthday package, and I haven't opened it.
I
But
hope it's your birthday present, because if not...
if not, I'm going to be really sad. It's like a step ladder or something crazy.
Right?
But it's huge. It's this big. Gigantor box.
Uh-oh.
And so I thought that I would open it and see what's in here because Colleen got me a really cool birthday present, but we didn't know when it was going to arrive. And like I said, I've been so busy doing videos that I haven't wanted the big distraction of opening it because
Gotcha.
it could be a really big distraction. There's an awful lot of tape here, too. Oh, my gosh. It's a whole bunch of
Box
stuff.
within a
Holy
box.
cow.
Oh, yeah, there were things that
There
you
were
got...
presents.
For ordering, you got
Oh.
extra stuff.
There's
yeah.
a buildable Mother's Day card from Lego, which is very funny. This is a... it looks like an A-Wing versus a TIE Interceptor Death Star attack trench model, which is very funny.
Nice.
But this is the thing I was expecting, and I as much of a Lego fan and Star Wars fan as I am, I have never had one of these, of this series. And they have been doing these for maybe 20 years. Never got one. This is the Ultimate Collector's Series. And it's an A-Wing starfighter, which is like absolutely insane. So it's got like a little minifigure on it that's like regular minifigure size, but the ship itself is absolutely huge. And this is 1,673 pieces. So you can see why I didn't want to like open it like right now, because that would be really tough. But anyway, Colleen was super cool to get me this.
The only
like,
problem is there's nowhere to assemble
incredible thing. Yeah, I'm gonna have to take over the kitchen table.
Well, but
Which
the
is
problem with that is that the kitchen table is where I sew.
It's where we're all working. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to work something
Or
else
figure it out.
But I have to get all of these videos done first.
Yes.
So that's my thing. But I've wanted to open that all week. It like showed up and it's been sitting out there, and I've been studiously ignoring it because I pretty much knew what it was, and I'm like, and she told me what she got me, but I'm like, oh God, it's here. And I've never done one of those, so I'm like, oh, I'm really looking forward to it. And I'm sure it will be one of those things that I just start the Twitch feed and start building. So
of course.
So thank you, Colleen.
I'll have to move my sewing for.
Yay.
I give you 48 hours.
And Colleen got less of a cool birthday present. She bought herself fabric because I was gonna do like a spa day for her at home because she hasn't had any spa-ish stuff, and then she wasn't feeling well. You had a crappy birthday.
Mm-hmm.
Really terrible.
Yes, not as bad as the day we had to leave my car in the desert, but that was
No, but yeah, we got to stop that.
Yeah.
No crappy birthdays.
Let's see, Jeff,
Yes.
go for it.
So this is interesting news. On May 28th, Disney Plus is finally going to have the correct aspect ratio for The Simpsons.
Finally, they transferred them at the wrong aspect ratio, so they're all cut off and smushed. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, the later seasons, I think, though, they went to the wider screen because that's the TVs that are.
well, the
around,
ones
but-
that went to HD, yeah, were okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, the sometimes they do like the scan and pan where they fill the screen, and I think that's what happened with the early Simpsons stuff is they expanded it to fill, when in reality they should have bars on the side. To be fair though, Disney's not the only people to have done that. When Back to the Future first came out, it was transferred at the wrong aspect ratio and cut off a bunch of the image, and you had to send your discs back to them so that you could get replacement disc. And I don't think we ever got our replacement discs. It was like a 3-movie set. I don't think we ever got our replacement discs from that.
Oh dear.
And which really sucked. So it's like it was really bad. And because you're looking at it going, I remember this differently. But yeah, that'll be good when they finally get that all sorted out. Did they give a date for that?
Yeah, May 28th,
May 28th.
is when it's supposed to start hitting.
Because I haven't been watching any Simpsons. I know it's there, and I have not been watching it.
Yeah, they took off some too. Like I had it on earlier, and it looks like they took some of the episodes off. Per season. Like they dropped down the numbers. I'm like,
oh, really?
okay. Oh, I'm like, okay.
That's weird.
Yeah. So I don't know if it has to do with that or not.
That's funny. We were watching TV the other night in Disney Plus, and Colleen had us fire up one of the Phineas and Ferb specials with the Marvel characters in it.
Oh yeah.
Boy, was that weird. It's just really kind of. It's like it's not exactly Phineas and Ferb. It's not exactly Marvel superheroes. It's somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Really bizarre.
They had was that where Major Monogram kept
adding eye patches.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty funny.
True.
I want to talk about earlier this week, or maybe it was last week, the Thunderbirds flew over. They did a pass. Did we talk about that on the show?
I don't think so.
They did a pass
I think
around
it
Los Angeles?
happened after the Thunderbirds.
It was like on the Friday last week, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it was really cool. And we, about like, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes before they were supposed to show up in our area, we decided that we were going to go and try and, we were thinking front yard or backyard, which one are we most likely to be able to see these guys from?
Right.
And then we
because
decided,
they had a very nebulous, we knew the flight plan and about the time they were going to
Ish.
pass, but it was a nebulous thing. It was like a
Yeah.
squiggly line on a vague
and
map.
a lot of people were waiting for them and never got to see them.
Didn't get to see them.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
these planes are a lot smaller than you think they are.
They are very small. Even though they're in a clump, there's 6 of them flying in formation, and then 2 chase ones, and a helicopter and a video plane. I mean, they were quite the
But
entourage.
if you did see them, like we got to see them, they were really flying quite low.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
you got to see them really well. But we just happened to be in a really good position to be able to see them. And I think they flew practically over our house.
Yeah, I mean, basically,
Oh, man.
what the idea was, because we didn't know where they were going to be, and if they were going to go out to the ocean or they were going to cut inland, we decided that the best place to go would be the Bluffs, which by us, if we walk to the Bluffs, we can see over the entire valley all the way to downtown Los Angeles. We can see Griffith Observatory, the Hollywood sign, and then
Yeah.
out to the ocean out the other side. There's big open space. And on our way there, we heard them coming.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, but we hear airplanes all the time. We live near the
We're like,
airport. And it's
no,
like,
this is
no,
different.
they're coming from the wrong direction. And we
Yeah.
stopped and we turned around, and they were like 50 yards from us.
They were really
we,
close.
We got a really good view of them straight down the street with no houses in the way, no nothing. And we'd have probably had a great view from the opposite side if we'd stayed at our house and been in the front yard. It would have been pretty
Yeah,
great.
but in the backyard, I don't know.
I don't think
might
we
not
would have
been
seen
able to
them
see 'em.
very well
Yeah.
or quickly.
Because they were so close to the ground.
Yeah. They would have
and
gone blink and
Sean
be gone.
had a camera in his hand and couldn't
Couldn't
even.
get it up fast enough to do
I mean,
it. Yeah, it's
they
just,
were gone before he
Yeah.
even lifted the camera up. So, that being said,
Mm-hmm.
on Monday at approximately noon, there will be an 18 plane formation of historic warbirds that are going to fly over the Inland Empire, Orange, and Los Angeles County. And
Awesome.
one of their flyover designated spots is LAX. And so
Sweet.
hopefully we'll be
That's
able
gonna
to
be
see them.
awesome.
But again, if they fly over El Segundo instead of flying over Westchester,
Right.
we won't be able to see them from our house.
Well,
So
and of course-
it's all very nerve wracking.
Right, and you're not supposed to get in your car and drive anywhere to
Yeah.
go see them. It's just a target of opportunity. But the Thunderbird skipped like the entire San Fernando Valley.
And it was
Which
really a
sucked.
bummer because their map appeared to indicate that they were going to fly along the 10 freeway.
Mm-hmm.
And so there were people who were like, okay, I'm in my yard, but I'm facing the right direction. And they waited outside for like
Yeah.
an hour. And they
Yeah.
just never got to see them because the planes didn't go over.
Well,
where they were.
and interestingly, so a lot of people have been very down on this because they're like, why are they using our tax dollars to do this kind of thing? And I want to make the argument that Jeff and I and Kit and I don't know that you've done any of these with us yet, Colleen.
The air shows? No.
Yeah, but we go to air shows. And we're there as the Star Wars characters. We're fundraising for charity, or frequently it is a charity. The Navy or the Air Force or whoever's hosting, whatever base is hosting, are doing things for their families of deployed soldiers. And the Thunderbirds or the Blue Angels are very frequently there doing all sorts of cool stuff for the general public. These guys... like the Blue Angels sort of winter in the desert in San Diego, and they do all their practicing and stuff out there. But nobody can see them because they're out in the middle of El Centro. For Jeff and I to go, when we go, it's 2 hours to the south and 2 hours to the east to get there. It's a 4-hour trip. And for the people we know who come out from Phoenix, Arizona, it is a 4-hour trip. It is smack in between these two places. So we, a lot of people have been really upset. And they're like, how can they use our tax money? But they have to practice anyway. This money's already been allocated. They're fighters, so it's not like they can go drop off, masks and toilet paper to someplace it needs it, because that's just not what these planes are for. And
Unique.
I'll tell you the thing that really sold me on making their defense and going to bat for these guys is that somebody posted a video of them flying around the Huntington Beach area. This video shows them sort of going across the coast, and then they turn and they fly over Disneyland at the end of their video. And as they fly over Disneyland, you can see California Adventure, you see the Incredicoaster, you see the Matterhorn and the castle and all of that as they fly over, which is kind of neat if you're a Disney fan. But at the beginning of this video, one of the planes gets too close to one of the other planes and then way overcorrects and has to go. The other guy shoots out, and their formation is broken to avoid a collision. And they're in such tight quarters. They need to practice because it's just the wrong move at the wrong time could be disaster. And I think, Colleen, you were telling me that somebody crashed recently. One of the teams. Maybe it was someone else, but someone had told me that one of the pilots in one of the air drill teams had like just days ago crashed.
Oh,
I did hear that.
And
I
it
don't,
maybe,
but it was like in England or somewhere.
Oh, it could have been Canada.
It was in Canada.
Remember the guys that we saw when we were in Canada for WorldCon? They kept doing loops. It was Canada Day, and they were doing loops around the CN Tower.
And we were in the CN Tower.
I think
Yeah,
it was one of
pretty
those
neat.
guys.
Oh.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, it was really tough. And oh, that's right. Kit's mom was telling me, and yeah, it was just pretty terrible. I mean, they need the practice, and the money's allocated, and so I don't know. For the people who are getting really bent out of shape, I feel that they have other things they could
Get upset about.
put their anger towards.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What do you want to talk about?
What do I want to talk about? That's a good question. I think that one of the things that's kind of making the rounds right now that people either love or hate, the Justice League movie was not very well received. And so for quite a long time, people are like, I want to see the Zack Snyder cut because it's got to be better. And, release it. They've been going nuts. Warner Brothers and HBO Max have teamed up, and they're going to release it. They're going to show it. I don't know that it's going to make that movie any better, because I think it started as a flawed picture anyway.
yeah.
And so Zack Snyder's cut that he did is getting released next year. On HBO Max, though, so it's only going to be on streaming.
Yeah.
You have to have that to see it. But, like I said, I don't know that it's going to be any better. And he was doing an online commentary of Man of Steel, which was one of the Henry Cavill things, and he mentioned it during that. So, I don't know.
I'm not a big fan of his lately DC stuff, so...
Well, I have to say, I broke down and I watched Aquaman.
Yeah, I heard that was actually fun.
Well, yeah. I'll tell you what, though. As far as being an accurate comic book movie goes, that film was so much like what I remember from the comic books. In the back of the comic books, the ads that they had for sea monkeys? Aquaman is the best sea monkey movie they could ever have possibly made. And if you don't think of it as Aquaman and you think of it as sea monkeys, it's really awesome.
Yeah.
It's super fun. The minute you go, oh, that's supposed to be Aquaman, no, I'm done.
Yeah, yeah.
But as a sea monkey movie, it's totally cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's him. The Zack Snyder, the Man of Steel, was just really, really depressing.
Yeah, Superman should be a beacon of hope, and he's just not anymore, and it makes me sad.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
So, and then, like Batman versus Superman, then Batman's, killing people. I'm like,
Superman's killing people. Superman has a body count. What the heck?
Well, yeah. Well, Superman. Well, I don't
Yeah.
know. Well, Superman kind of did in Man of Steel, because of the big fight and like how many million of people died in that city.
Yeah, I mean the
Yeah.
current DC Superman's got a body count, and that's just wrong.
Yeah, and Batman doesn't kill people either in the comics, or anything. He didn't kill anybody, but Batman and the Batman versus Superman. Yep, he's knocking them off one after another.
Nah.
I'm like, what the hell?
I don't know. I have no need to go back to the DC verse until they reboot it. So we'll see.
I mean, Wonder Woman is so far the only shining beacon for me out of the entire.
I have to admit, I want to see Wonder Woman 1984.
Yeah.
I'm totally in for that.
Yeah.
But that's it. I might watch another Aquaman movie. Bits of it were kind of nice. Bits of it were really stupid. But
Yeah, I wasn't interested in seeing it after Jason
Momoa.
stole Amber. What is her name? His co-star.
Oh,
Amber Heard.
Amber Heard.
Amber Heard. He stole her book.
Yeah. So Jason Momoa kept clamoring for attention from his co-star, and so he would steal her book and tear out pages so that she would have to pay attention to him to get the pages back to finish her book. So the people in the
Just
costuming
somebody
department.
taking away a book I'm trying to read.
Well,
be
there.
very similar to someone taking away food I'm trying to eat.
Yeah, that's like the worst thing for
No,
you. I can imagine.
I would be so I don't even want to see a movie with him in it
Yeah.
because of that.
Well, and her solution was to have the costume department make her a green screen bag to keep her book in, so that whenever she was doing, she could just wear the bag all the time. And she's like, "Screw it, effects people can fix the problem. I'm keeping my book with me," because it was such an issue. So it's just not cool. It's
Yeah.
just not cool. But I love Tamira Morrison, who was in it.
Yeah.
Nicole Kidman did a great job. But I mean, it's such an eye candy thing because it's like super hunky Jason Momoa and then Amber Heard and Nicole Kidman in like, skin tight Atlantean costumes, and it's very much an eye candy kind of thing. But like I said, if you think of it as a sea monkey movie, it's really pretty bitchin'. There's like big battle scenes that are like, this is sea monkeys. It's like totally cool.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to, I'll have to look at it that way.
yeah, just keep that in mind. Yeah. And because I mean, everybody shows up and they've got crowns and scepters and tridents and things, and it reminds me exactly of the ads in the back of the comic books.
Yeah.
And so,
Totally.
if in that case, it is one of the best comic book to live action movies ever made.
Jeff, do you have a last tidbit to talk about?
Okay. Yes. And it is. Simon Pegg was talking about Star Trek, and because they're saying, everyone's clamoring to find out, is there going to be another movie? When's it coming out? Blah blah blah. And Simon Pegg just basically said, Star Trek really should just stay on TV.
Mm-hmm.
He says maybe TV is a better place for Star Trek now.
I
that's
can't
where it
say
started,
he's
that's where
wrong.
it should be.
I can't say he's wrong, and I'll tell you, and this is something that Star Wars benefits from too.
Yeah.
Television is long form.
Yeah.
You don't get 2 hours and then you have to wait a couple of years. You get a bunch of episodes, and you can get, 16, 18, 20 hours
Totally.
of a story. It's huge. Colleen and I just finished watching Rebels.
Yes.
And we made it all the way through to the last episode, and
okay.
it was good. It was unlike some of the problems I have with the Clone Wars. Rebels was pretty solid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They left a little too much open-ended at the end of it for me, but
Yeah. There's rumors that there's a sequel series, but I don't know how that is true. I'll have to bug Mr. Marielli.
right.
But,
yeah, he might know.
Yeah, but all I've heard is like people posting things and like from articles and it's all rumored stuff. Nothing from Disney yet at all. So
Yeah. I think Simon Pegg's right, though. Keep it on TV where you can tell better. So I mean, look at how much people love Picard. If that were a movie, I think people would have just been disappointed. Too short. not enough.
Speaking of too short, not enough. Some good news, which is John Krasinski's stay-at-home news show that he's been doing since we've been safer at home.
It's been super fun. I think I'm an episode behind, but it's been super fun.
It's over. So
It's over?
they had the last episode. I didn't actually care for the last episode because I didn't know it was the last episode, and because they never say this is the last episode. They just do a lot of outtakes and recap of all the other shows, and I'm like, it's only been
Oh, I see.
it's 8 episodes.
So they made a clip show for their
yeah,
final
they made
show.
a clip show,
Oh.
and so I didn't really care for it. And then the news came today that I guess the reason why it's the last show is because it's been sold to Viacom and is going to be aired on CBS All Access with a different host.
What?
So John Krasinski will make appearances on it, but he won't be the main host. And I
think it sucks.
don't. Well, I won't be watching it because it's CBS
It's on CBS All Access. Don't
But-
put it somewhere where you have to pay for it.
Yeah.
That's lame. That was the whole point. The whole point was everybody could get at it and get, good news. It wasn't chicken soup for the soul. It's not like a licensed thing.
Right. And also, I don't know.
I'm really annoyed by this.
I don't know if in regular times if you need that as much, but you
Yeah,
really needed it now.
but we're not in regular times yet.
I also feel like we're not out of this yet.
No.
So it feels soon. I'm sure that
Yeah.
he's probably exhausted.
I'm
because
sure,
it's
and
a
I know it's
ton
a
of
lot of
work.
work. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
so-
lot of work. I mean, just the stuff that we do around here is a lot of work.
Yeah.
And I imagine that it's, but I
And I
also
always feel guilty that I'm not doing more.
well, and I feel like somebody with his resources though has like a team to help
know.
him out. So
I mean,
don't
I'm
know.
sure he's got some help because he's been
Yeah.
getting sponsors and,
Yeah.
he has friends that are celebrities. So he can call on his friendships to get people on his show. It's not like, I mean, we could have like smaller celebrities.
Right.
He can call on like superstars.
Oh,
he
yeah.
can go, hey, wife, you're a movie star.
Right. Who do you know? Well, but honestly too, it's like Josh Gad and putting his thing together.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of editing and there's a lot of stuff and somebody's got to go and organize
But
all of those
he's not
people.
editing everything himself.
He's not
probably.
doing that. I mean, he might be making the phone calls to people,
Yeah.
going,
Yeah.
hey, because I mean, he's got that kind of name clout now that he can do that. But I'm almost positive that he's got a team of people who are helping him out to do it. So.
Yeah, I would think so. But it's just,
Before it started,
it's
before the
kind of,
quarantine and even after the quarantine,
what am I hearing?
always been terrible.
Jeff has gone. You have
Bye-bye.
gone quiet again. Hold on, Jeff. We didn't.
And since it doesn't line up with the video,
Right.
like,
We,
it was super confusing.
Just hold on a second.
I swear.
Oh, there he is.
It's like every show. It's around this
Yeah.
time or
Well,
or
I'll
before.
I'll
Well,
tell
we are
you.
ending in 1 minute.
I'll tell you what. It's probably Zoom or something like that. But I
Yeah.
thought somebody was talking in the background behind you.
Okay.
We didn't realize that you had, because
It
poor
was me,
poor
yeah.
Jeff is trying to inject into the conversation, and we
And
can't
both
hear.
of us are
I,
like-
I honestly thought somebody was standing outside your door talking about
Yeah, I
stuff.
know.
Hold that thought. I'm going to wrap
Okay.
things up over on Krypton Radio, although I don't know that our rebroadcast is working quite yet because
Oh.
we had a server crash on Sunday.
Okay.
But let
Just
us
in case.
let us pretend, just in case. You have been listening to Docking Bay 94, for which we're very, very grateful. Tomorrow will be Good Morning Tatooine. We will wrap up the week. That's tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific Time, 12 p.m. Eastern Time. We will do that. Of course, we will be back here the following week. If you're over on Twitch, do us a favor and like and subscribe and do that kind of stuff. If you're on Facebook looking at the links that Boba Kit Sovine's been posting, like that page too. Subscribe or do whatever. Let us know you were there, please. In the meantime, we hope to see you next week. And thanks for being here tonight, because we know life is weird.
I'm calling Kaylee Crosby.
This is Jeff Soledano.
And I am Sean Crosby. As always, may the force be with you. Okay. And it's after time. We're just going to go for it.
Blah.
So at least, though, Jeff, I figured out that when you go quiet like that, if I switch sound cards over here in Zoom, it brings you back.
Weird.
Yeah. So and I don't know what the deal is. There's some sort of weird change. And I thought it was your cable because things got weird and buzzy. But after last week, I figured out that it's if I just switch the sound card, that seems to do it. So it seemed to work right here. We just had to notice.
Yeah.
We had to notice that you had gone all faint.
Yeah.
Because we're both like, what's that? Somebody must be outside Jeff's room.
I thought that Jeff's that a part of the show where Jeff was talking was repeating somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
And that was
it could have
bleeding
been that way.
through from my audio was turned off, so it wasn't me, because usually when I hear things like that, it's because I forgot to turn off my
Right.
sound and it's coming out of my computer somewhere.
Well, and when I looked over, I thought maybe he'd taken a phone call.
Yeah. I know. Like, hell.
All right.
Yeah. So what I was saying was that before the quarantine ever happened, before COVID and even after COVID, we're still going to be stuck with horrible, terrible news anyway. And it was before that, and it will be after that. And why this was such a great thing, some good news that we could see this, and it was good. It was heartwarming, uplifting, whatever you want to put it.
Yeah.
And now it's going to go, well, we're just going to put, someone else bought it. Now it's going to be corporate and garbage, and you have to pay to see it. And
It's the paying to see it part that's kind of a bummer. I mean, I expect everything to become corporate eventually, and it's no surprise that somebody jumped on that and went, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing," because it became a phenomenon instantly. And it won't surprise me that a lot of the stuff that we're seeing right now doesn't become like sort of a proving ground for things like Josh Gad's thing, which I fully expect somebody
That'll be
to.
on like Disney Plus
They're going to do these reunion shows, and because they're like, wow, this was really popular, let's do it again. Then the thing is that once we get out of this and people can start working together on stuff, the production value will go up, and I think it'll lose a lot of its charm.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Because like seeing the Goonies or the Back to the Future cast or whatever all in little squares like the Brady Bunch, all at the same time talking to each other, that's part of the charm.
I think part of the charm is that everybody has been taking a million Zoom calls.
Mm-hmm.
And so to see these people that you have idolized and see them so many years later, and you feel like you can relate to them.
Yes.
Because I've been in a Zoom call, I've had technical difficulties.
Mm-hmm.
And you get to be, it's like being in on the joke.
Well, everybody likes to see things where, I mean, honestly, I'm surprised there hasn't been a show that's just called this, that is celebrities are just like us. I mean, that's honestly, that would be a major hit. And it's like, look, we were outside and we were watching so-and-so come from Starbucks and they dropped their coffee. Oh my God, that's happened to me. Because, it's all stuff that's relatable and we could do it. That's one of the things I think, one of the reasons why TMZ is as popular as it is, because they show a lot of that kind of stuff. Often they put a sensationalist spin on it, but in a lot of cases it's like, we were at the airport and we were following so-and-so and they had trouble getting through TSA with their luggage. Well, we've all been through that. And, I just don't want to watch TSA because not TSA, TMZ, because they're TMZ.
Exactly.
Well, they lie about stuff too.
Well, yeah, there's that. But, I mean, all of the stuff that we're seeing as entertainment, and just about everybody has a broadcast now, which is really funny. I mean, we've been doing this almost 8 years.
Yeah.
And people are like, "Oh, I see you've started a podcast." Like, no.
No.
Well, but we have it available in more places now.
Yeah, we
And
do.
now that it's on Facebook, like so many more people seem to see it.
Right. Well, and
Yeah.
that's well, first off, my Facebook page is public. Secondly, I've got like 4,300 people
Yeah.
on there, and I'm always appreciative when you guys are on Facebook and you're watching, because I know everybody's doing this kind of stuff. But I wish I could figure out how to make it go to the Docking Bay 94 page on Facebook without having to pay for
Right.
that privilege.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but yeah,
also,
I mean,
you probably have more people on your page than
I think we have to.
I'm sure I do.
Like we were saying before, we had to change Stalking Bay 94 on Facebook into like a group page instead of the other.
Yeah, actually, what we have to do is we have to kill the page, because there's the difference on Facebook. A page, people can make comments and things, but it's more of an announcement page. It's like, this is
Yeah.
what we're doing. Whereas a group is more interactive, and I think like Road Squadron, I think we're a group. I think I made that a group when we started it.
Yeah.
And it's very different because anybody can post, anybody can be the center of attention over on that page. Whereas the old Docking Bay 94 page, when we started it as a page, there are posts, but you have to go find the thread to post.
Mm-hmm.
You click on the thing that says post, and you can see what other people are doing. Otherwise, you only get messages from us. And that's not cool, because I like the community aspect of it, and I want all of you guys to have a say in it, as does Jeff, as does Colleen. I mean, because this is as much your thing as us. I mean, I was talking to somebody today, Nate Truman. If you're listening, Nate, hi Nate. Why aren't you sleeping?
Oh yeah.
Nate runs Star Cars, and he's been sick. He's actually sequestered in the hospital right now. And he gave me a call today, and it was really great to talk to him and hear what's going on with him, because his wife can't see him. We can't go visit him. He's got to stay where he's at, which is really kind of a bummer. But we were talking about all of this, and this show, because of all you guys who listen and watch and consume it in whatever way you do, this is like us going to poker night or bowling night. Is like we hang out with a bunch of you guys that we know, and we chat and we BS, and it's the three of us talking, but you guys comment and we respond to your comments, and you have input, and like the morning show, we do Discord now, and so I have a running commentary going on my other screen, and people will say something that will trigger, and Jeff and I race. So basically, I will mention something, and I will dig up the song, and Jeff will try to post it over in the Discord before I find it over in the thing. He did that today with Johnny Appleseed. And because I went and I got the song and I put it in, and I think I mentioned on the air, I'm like clockwork, there's Jeff's video, which was really very funny. And although, sorry I got mad at you on the show the other day, if you heard. It's like in exasperation, I went, Jeff, with my mic open. So it was really funny because you were vague booking. You about is. I'm like, who is? What are you, Jeff? What are you talking about?
Oh, I did see that. That was hysterical.
Stop vague booking. But
That was pretty funny.
but yeah, I mean, we wouldn't do this if you guys weren't out there. And on it, we could go to, well, not right now, but we could go to the bowling alley and just go bowling and do whatever. But this is like our bowling night without Fred Flintstone.
Yeah.
So
Twinkle Toes Flintstone.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, we are coming up on our anniversary. We have just a couple of shows before then. Assuming
number
I've done the math
8?
right.
Yeah.
I don't remember what our show number is. Here we go. There you go. You're back. He's back. But we've learned a lot about technology in the past 8 years. And
I can phase in and out. So.
that's right. Well, and at one point I had like a completely different thing for you, so I can just have a background for you, which was really funny. So anyway,
Your skin dry like a desert.
Meanwhile, on Tatooine, so I did this thing for Colleen. That's like a little opening of the fake cooking show, which was really funny. And I had to, the picture that I just showed you was a background that I made, and I had to go in and add the blue sky because there was no, the sky was like brown, or it was something awful. And I'm like, that's not happy, that's not cool. But yeah, here I'll show you guys what this video is. Stop. Pause. Does not want to pause.
Okie dokie.
Yeah, you can hear it, but you can't see it. So I am gonna. Golly, this is a terrible player, by the way. Can I just say that it's an awful player? There we go. I'm gonna throw it over on Jeff's screen.
Hi, Jeff.
And then I am gonna go over here and do.
I can change in the thing.
Might not be able to hear each other.
Oh, they can't hear it.
They can't hear it. Oh well, that's.
Wait.
There we go. Back to normal. So, your camera, Jeff, on your phone, you have a Pixel,
now,
right?
Now they
have
have
a Pixel,
no
yes.
sound on Twitch.
They have no sound
nope,
on.
now it's back to normal.
Okay.
Good Lord.
I don't know. All the settings are
professionals.
right. It just does what it does. So Google has its own particular camera on the Pixel.
Yes,
And-
Sergeant Al, 8 years of this, exactly.
Yes, exactly. And so, and that's the thing. I have all the settings right. Everything's cool, and then it just works when it wants, and it doesn't work when it wants. So I downloaded the Google camera for my Samsung, and
Okay.
they had little Star Wars stickers. And so, in order to get like the little BB-8 and the Porg, and to be creative, I did what the Mandalorian did actually. Is I made a green screen on my monitor, and then I did the augmented reality overlay with the character and shot it, and basically made a character in front of a green screen, and then dropped it into my video.
Oh, okay.
It worked really well, except
perfect.
I had to go find the camera because I'm not supposed to have that camera on my Samsung because it's a Google Pixel thing, and
Yeah.
they're like very proprietary. But I made it work. Darn it! I feel very clever for having been able to do
Yeah.
it.
I had videos here and there of like one of our dogs sleeping on the bed and there were porgs crawling all over it.
Nice.
So yeah, it was like a little thing they did a little ways back.
Yeah, and I think the newer phones didn't get it anymore. I think they stopped at doing it, which was a bummer. But I managed to find like the old version and put it in. I love stuff like that, which is really fun when they do it. I think one of the weddings we had the dance floor and had like R2 and BB-8 and the Porgs were all over the dance floor, and it was very amusing. But we'll have to see. Did we have anything of note that we didn't cover on our our
I
speed
totally
round
closed the list.
list?
I don't
Oh,
know.
I've got it open here. Gen Con, the big gaming convention, canceled finally.
And yet there's still conventions set to go on in Florida.
Yeah, yeah. And so Peter Adkison is a name you might not know, but he has been running Gen Con forever. He's a co-owner. He's chairperson of the board. And he also ran for at least the first 4 conventions. He ran Star Wars Celebration. And so when he came here to look at Los Angeles as a potential location for Celebration 4, that's when I met him and his partner Owen, a partner in the business. And so Peter released this mention, this memo that basically said, I'm sure you're not surprised, but we're going to cancel Gen Con, which is just a huge gaming convention in Indianapolis, probably the biggest gaming convention. And it's a big milestone for every convention. Like this is like the first time in 50 years this convention's been canceled. So, and like everybody, they're postponing till next year. Labyrinth of Jareth, which is a big costumed event here. People dance, they have tea, very close quarters. It's in the Biltmore Hotel where they shot Ghostbusters. Everybody's packed in like sardines in their gorgeous costumes. They have also postponed till next year.
Bummer.
And but we mentioned Florida opening like Universal Studios and things like that. Tampa Bay Comic-Con still on. Atlanta, Georgia Dragon Con still on.
Weirdos.
I'm waiting for these things. Well, and Star Wars Celebration also has not canceled yet.
I know what. Yeah, they're really holding out.
I am surprised by this. Yeah, but I'm sure that they're holding out against hope. But California is one of the really strict ones that's going, hey, we're gonna stay at home as long as possible. So and we'll see. But like I said, some of the cities are bucking the trend. Ventura County, the whole county is like, well, we're gonna open slowly and see what's going on. So I don't know. I would love to see these places open. I just hope people don't get themselves into trouble and suddenly get a huge wash of new cases of COVID, because I keep seeing people passing away. And the more people I know who have passed away, and the more people who are like friends or family of friends who pass away, and the fact that is growing tells me we're just not ready yet. So we'll see. I mean, don't get me wrong. I want to go to conventions. I want to do all this fun stuff.
I just saw some good news.
Okay, what's good news?
The Umbrella Academy Season 2 will premiere on Netflix on July 31st.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
I
And the
enjoyed
whole
Umbrella
cast
Academy.
is going to be back. Yay!
Wow. Huh.
Cool. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
It was pretty good stuff. The I confuse it though with The Boys, which was the superhero.
Oh, I don't, because I heard that was
Yeah.
really not for me to
It is.
watch,
It is
so-
not for you. Yeah, it is not for you.
No.
It is unpleasant, and it's like, it's the perfect superhero tale for the Trump administration. It is just like, what if superheroes were that bad?
Nope.
And which is a bummer. It's like everybody thinks they're good, but they're not.
Yeah.
It was entertaining, but
Right.
it was a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah.
Man, just like about maybe a half an hour ago, my energy all just
Just went away.
went away.
Uh-oh.
And
Uh-oh.
for the past half hour, I've been struggling to keep my eyes open.
Yeah, that's okay.
I understand.
I mean, we could. I'm just looking through the list here to see if there's anything we need to talk about before we call it. What is this thing? I wondered about this and I didn't get to see it. James McAvoy and Millie Bobby Brown are handing
I
over
read that.
their social media accounts
It's not
to
just
health
them. It's a whole
experts?
bunch of celebrities
Julia Roberts, Hugh Jackman, Alan Cumming,
Yeah.
Sarah Jessica
They're
Parker.
allowing the health department to post things on their, I think, Instagram accounts.
Oh, okay.
Because they have a larger following.
Sure.
So more people will be exposed to the message that the health department is trying to get out there. So it's a really good thing.
It's called the Pass the Mic Project. And so, like, Julia Roberts is kicking it off, I guess, today. And so she's handing over her Instagram account, which has 8.7 million followers, to Dr. Anthony Fauci.
Yeah.
That's cool. So, yeah, we'll
I don't have Instagram account, but I think you can go look at it.
I have an
So-
Instagram account, and I'm sure it's not that hard. James McAvoy donated a six-figure donation to a fundraising campaign.
Oh, Julia Roberts is interviewing him.
Oh, yeah?
Fauci.
Oh, that's cool.
I think so.
Oh. Well, I mean, it's really kind of interesting to do. I don't know that I follow too many celebrities on Instagram that, like, I don't know. Like, if I have met you, I will follow you, which is kind of what I do for Facebook. Facebook keeps suggesting celebrities. You should follow Hugh Jackman. I'm like, I guess.
Isn't that creepy and stalker-like?
It seems like it, yeah. It's not like they're asking me to send them a friend request, though, which I feel is very stalkery. And there are some people.
That's odd, isn't it?
There are some people that I have sent messages to that I know that are like, "Hey, friend me on Facebook," because at least I feel like I know them sufficiently enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to look at Julia Roberts' posts because I don't have an
You don't
Instagram
have Instagram.
account.
Let me see if I can do it.
For shame.
I mean, like, I can see the pictures, but I can't click through to actually
Right.
look at them.
I thought it was kind of fun this weekend. I got a photograph from Sean Giovanni, who is in Goldberg's, and he apparently came by our house and took a picture with the car out front in the driveway.
That was sort of surreal.
It was really weird. He's like, "Hi," and I'm like, "Dude, you didn't say hi." It's like, it's Mother's Day. I didn't want to bother you.
Plus, we're supposed to be social distancing.
I would have waved from the porch. Would have been fine. But it was really very funny, and we'll have to say. Let me see, Julia Roberts. Let's see what I come up with. Here we go. Here's Julia Roberts' account, and yeah, there's all sorts of stuff. So there's a social distancing pledge and a COVID-19 facts, and all sorts of stuff. I don't know if she's done that interview yet, but it looks like, yeah, maybe they did. And Rita Wilson chimed in and said hi, and there's like a little love fest going on, which is cool. But that's neat. I mean, honestly, I think it's a really great way to disseminate information like that we really need to take this seriously.
Yeah.
And look, I am the first person who would love to be proven wrong, that it's over and we're done and everybody's going to be safe and healthy and great. I just feel like we need to be careful until that happens, because I got to tell you guys, I'm tired of losing people. I really am. I mean, it's been a terrible year.
It's not even just every time people are focused on this, they focus on this is the number of people that died. And of course that is the worst case scenario.
Well, sure.
But the amount that people are affected by this disease, even after when they survive.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean they survive and you're back to normal. Like, your lung capacity could be diminished, and they haven't even found
there
out.
are after effects that we don't know about yet.
Right.
Well,
it's insane.
And so I don't know if you saw this, Jeff. Our friend Joe, Jedi Joe, who used to be here on the show, and we used to do lightsaber battles with. Joe, he does Saber League right now, which is combat stuff. And one of the main guys in New Jersey of the Saber League got sick from COVID. He went in and got treated. He thought he was on the mend, and he died. Like today.
Oh,
he died.
that's sad.
And it's nuts. And,
Yeah.
you know, because people think they're recovering. It looks like everything's great.
Well, yeah,
And then they crash hard.
because they're finally realizing now that the virus doesn't tend to stay for only 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah.
It can stay up to a month or
So,
more. But yeah,
yeah, I want everybody to, you know, completely survive all this because it's, you know, it's nuts. And I have a lot of friends who are really stubborn. They're like, I'm not going to wear a mask. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. And all I got to say is, don't get sick.
yeah,
Don't get sick, because it's like a sleeper thing. You like get sick, you get over it, and some people are done when they're over it, and some people it just like rears up and it bites them in the butt, and it's bad. I have so many friends who are in the hospital right now from Facebook, really worried about all of them.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
What do you do when you're at the grocery store and the person who is standing not that far away decides that they need to pull their mask off to talk on the phone?
You got to walk away.
yeah.
I mean, that's what I did. Was
Yeah,
I
I mean,
walked
you
away.
have to walk away. I mean,
Glaring didn't help.
you can't. You could carry a little bottle of water and spray them like a cat.
I don't want somebody to punch me.
Yeah, I mean, well, and you can't pee on their shoes. You know, I mean, you just got to walk away.
No, I was wearing pants, so and a mask. I
Right.
had my mask on.
Okay, I can't pee on their shoes.
Yeah.
You got to walk away, because honestly, the masks are there to protect you, and if they've dropped their mask, you have to bolt because you're not
Yeah.
protected anymore, and that's the thing. And I know a lot of people who are like, I'm not going to wear a mask, and it just strikes me as super selfish.
Yeah.
I don't like wearing them. I don't
Yeah.
want to put a thing on my face that jams my beard into my head. It's
Yeah.
not comfortable, but I don't
Unless you're wearing
want to make other
unless you're
people
wearing
sick.
the super filter mask. The mask you're wearing is really just there to protect other people,
Right.
not you.
The mask I wear for asthma will probably protect me from
Yeah.
from other people. Yeah.
Your Darth Vader-esque.
Yeah, the thing I wear at the thing I have to wear at Disneyland, the thing that everybody made fun of me for wearing, and now it's like, ha ha, look what you guys have to wear. But yeah, the total Darth Vader thing that the
Yeah.
Disneyland, every time I went through Disneyland security, they're like, you can't come in with this. And then they let me in with it. And then I'd wear it for something, and then somebody would come over and go, "Oh my God, are you okay?" But I gotta admit, I'm missing Disneyland. I am missing Disneyland.
Yeah, I know.
I do want to go. But, you know, everything in its time. I mentioned Nate Truman, who's in the hospital right now. He hasn't been to Galaxy's Edge yet,
Oh man.
and he really wants to go.
Yeah.
But, of course, Disneyland's closed, and he's stuck in the hospital. So,
Yeah,
But
this is true.
we'll get there. I was doing unboxing videos for a while because I had cool stuff from Disneyland that I hadn't opened yet. I'm all out of stuff from Disneyland.
Oh no.
I haven't done an unboxing video in a few weeks because I'm out of stuff to open.
Well, we should get another international snack box soon.
Right.
See, there you
I
go.
got a note that it's on its way.
Well, and
Oh.
I've seen people who had one from the Philippines and people who had
Oh.
one from England.
Kelly and John got one from England, and I said it was funny because we got little, like, single serving bags of chips,
Right.
and Kelly got like family size.
Right.
And so I said, "Wow, you got so much more than we did. Is it sufficient for your family?" Because she has 4 adults, 3 adults and 2 teenagers. I don't know. Maybe you'd call it 3 teenagers.
Yeah.
They're like in between
2 parents
15
and 3
and 22,
kids. But-
and another adult
and
because
another.
John's sister lives with them.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, and so this is a pretty big household.
Sure.
And she said nobody in the house would eat any of it but her.
Oh, see, what a bunch of cowards.
She said that
Come on.
nobody would try it.
Bunch of cowards.
You know.
Wimpy. Well, John, the husband in that group, these are the people, by the way, who own our house, who we rent from their family. And we've known them for 30-something years.
So we were just talking about that on your Facebook page where this is streaming. Sam and Deb and John and Kelly were all on
listening,
listening, and they
super
were
cool.
all, and they wanted, how long has it been since we've all been together?
I know. Well, we
So-
were supposed to get together
It's
for
been 32
barbecues and
years.
stuff, and we haven't done it. But it's been 32 years,
Yep.
almost like 33 years. We're getting close to that.
Well, it'll be 32 years, like, what, in a week, in 2 weeks?
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway. So we all know each other from Renaissance Fair and stuff like that, and so John, who is a firefighter, has completely embraced that he needs to social distance and that he needs to wear a mask and stuff like that. So he went and he got one of the large Hasbro Black Series Darth Vader helmets,
Well, good night, Kelly.
and he's wearing that around, which is really funny. And he didn't realize it made sound, and then he found out it made sound, and so I think he wants to wear it to the supermarket.
There you go.
You got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, which is pretty funny. I've been trying to get my hands on one of the X-wing pilot helmets, but I may have missed the
Oh, I
window
know.
for them because they were everywhere, and then now they're nowhere. So
I didn't know they ever came out. Wow,
yeah, they
okay.
did. They were at like GameStop and Best Buy for a
Aw.
while, and now I think they've sold
Man.
out. I think I missed the. I was waiting for the price to go down because I always
It was
buy
like
everything on clearance, and they never
100
did.
something, right?
Yeah, it was anywhere between 99 and 120
Okay.
for the standard Luke Skywalker style X-wing helmet. And
Oh,
I was
okay.
totally looking for one because it looks like a pretty good helmet. And
Why is this not like a Best Buy or something?
I am super anal retentive of my helmets. They've got to be symmetrical and perfect and whatever. So too many of the fan-made kits are a little goofy. So, but so everybody's doing these little fan-made videos and things to entertain themselves, like the makeup brush passing and the coin passing and things like that. The Rebel Legion fighter squadrons are doing a all wings report in video where every squadron is having their members dress up in costume, sit in Zoom with a green screen cockpit backdrop, and count off and do their number. Hazard 1 standing by, Hazard 2 standing by.
Yeah.
That kind of thing, which is pretty cool. So I may, if I get all these videos done by tomorrow night, I will throw my hat in that ring and do
Gotcha.
that. Except I'm going to sit in my car because I think my car is sufficiently spaceship enough to do it. So I'm doing that. But
I think I'm going to check out.
Colleen's done. Well,
Yeah.
we've
I'm
gone an
tired.
extra.
It's 9:30.
It's 9:30. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've got a lot of editing to do. Colleen's got a lot of sleeping to do.
Yeah. Importante.
Wiped out, and Jeff's got to be. What time do you get up? 4:30.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think
It's a drag.
Jeff's got some sleeping to do too.
Yeah.
So I, on the other hand, am probably going to be up all night working on this video.
Good grief.
Yeah, they have to be done by like 4 in the morning, and I'll tell you the one my technology, and sometimes I just think I'm just cursed from technology, but
Probably.
my ideas for shooting this thing were great. Where I put my dash camera above Colleen so it could look down on her hands and the bowl while she was making cookies. And then I had my phone set up shooting HD down the kitchen to watch her work from another angle. And something about my dash cam, it would like turn itself off when it didn't register motion. And so
good grief.
I missed stuff. So I'm trying to edit around that without making her have to remake cookies because that would suck. I think I've got it. I think I figured it out. It's just a thing for kids. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you know me,
Yeah. Yeah.
I say it has to be perfect, but they don't. So honestly,
Yeah.
I'm just going to get it done. And so next Thursday, we'll let you guys know when some of this stuff is live and you can check it out. And it's all we had a good library, a couple of Zoom panels. We did Julie Dolan, which was great. She's the voice of Princess Leia and does a bunch of other stuff. Princess Leia on Rebels. And she's the voice of Princess Leia in Star Tours. If you've been on Star Tours, she does Leia in Star Tours, which was super cool. And she told us about the whole audition process and that kind of thing, which is really neat. And then we did an interview with two of the Star Wars book authors, which were really cool.
Yeah.
Michael Kogi and Kevin Schicklin, I think is his name. And he's the guy who did Chewie and the Porgs.
Oh, okay.
Which honestly doesn't need to be a rock band. It's like
Yeah,
Benny and
sounds
the
like-
Jets. It's like Chewie and the Porgs. Chewie and the Porgs. So we've got some good and then we've got goofy kid stuff. We're doing Vader story time and all the stuff we usually do at the library. So it'll be pretty fun. We'll let you guys know when that goes
Yeah.
live next week. But in the meantime, gosh, be safe, guys. Have a really good week. You can find me in the mornings from 9 in the morning to 11 Pacific time on Discord too. Which is good. Go to kryptonradio.com. Check out all the cool news stories, especially that one on Charlie Lippincott. I think you'll really like, because if you didn't know about him, you'll appreciate what he did. If you do know about him, there's probably a lot of new stuff in there that you haven't seen. So do check that out, and we'll see you all again next week. It'll be
Yep.
good. Good night, Colleen. And good night, Jeff.
Good night.
And we'll see all y'all later on. Stopping the Twitch stream. Wow.